getting more old civilization. Scrackety! We're waiting for the lobby creation according to the timer, so we'll stick with that. Why are we seeing such a low investment on the old civilizations?
You mean
on the new civilization? Yes.
I mean, is it a low investment though? Because we do see SAS with the Macedonians, we do see MSN with the Tughlaq, and both of them banned out the Sengoku. So it's not that low. They're just not that high priority, which in theory kind of gives credit, I want to say, to the balancing of these new civilizations, right? Like they're neither like top tier priority, but they're also not right at the bottom. And Sengoku is actually deserving of a ban. So it's overall like they fit in quite nicely into the balance, I want to say.
Oh, that's what I absolutely love to see, because a lot of people, when the DLC drops, because everything is new, everyone's like, no, these civilizations are so broken. You can't win if you don't buy the DLC. These guys are showing you, you don't need to buy the DLC to enjoy AoE. You can still play Byzantines and Delhi to live a good life. And
Exactly.
Byzantines against Delhi on Lipany. Woo! That feels like a tale as old as time, as old as Byzantines' release, I guess. But how do these two match up against one another?
I think it's pretty even for the most part. You just have to be really careful as the Byzantines not to overextend in the feudal age, because the Delhi, they can just kind of snowball once you give them, once you give them a finger, they take the whole hand. At the same time, Delhi, they also have to really weigh when they engage in the feudal age. It's a difficult one, and at some point, the Byzantines are also going to have to start transitioning into horsemen just to have some agency on the map for raiding potential. You want to start off with just Limitani and mass of longbows, and eventually you also want to start adding in horsemen as well. You also can't go too early to Castle Age. It's just a matter of timings. Both civilizations, like back and forth, like both civilizations want to heavily invest into the feudal age and eventually transition into a Castle Age. And it's really important to try and weigh when you can actually take fights and not take fights. So it's a back and forth between the two. And yeah, overall, it's a very even matchup, I want to say.
What I also love from this draft specifically is the fact that both of them banned Ottoman, though. I just noticed that. Sassy, on his home civilization then, he is very known for his Ottoman plays. MSN knows this. I don't know MSN to be that much of an Ottoman player, though, but I don't see him playing this much. Is this something to say about the civilization, or is this more about the players?
I think I want to say it's maybe a little bit of both, right? Like both players definitely value the Ottomans quite highly. In general, like SAS especially, we know him like just really putting Ottomans on a golden scale. MSN might also just know this, and he's like, okay, I know that you love playing Ottomans, so I'm just gonna ban him straight away and just make sure that you don't play it. I think for SAS, it's more like, I'm gonna ban Ottomans, so my opponent doesn't pick Ottomans, so I can pick him. And MSN is like, okay, I know SAS likes Ottomans, so I'm just gonna ban him.
Okay. Oh, it's big mind games there. See, this is where the civ balance and the player level matching, I think, comes together and becomes the beautiful game of AoE. But both of them, I want to take a look at their priority picks. As we're now going to see the Delhi and Byzantines, we'll talk about that as we load in. But I want to point out that we had a China, Japan, Zushi, and Rus. Again, civilizations that we've been seeing be prioritized for seasons and seasons and seasons now. So I'm excited to see where they decide to pick these as well and what that matchup looks like. Because MSN getting both China and Zushi, that feels pretty strong.
Yeah, both China and Jushi. I guess like SAS just has different priorities there as well. He also picked Rus rather early, which is surprising considering just how many people at the moment kind of discount Rus as a civilization that's just been receiving a lot of nerfs recently and doesn't feel that strong overall. So he's still investing into them. He also invests into the Macedonians here with the Ridari, which of course are pretty damn strong. Just in general, like once you get to them, military-wise, they're quite powerful. Then going for the good old solid and tested civilizations here with China, Shushi, Malians, Ayyubids, and also throwing the Tughlaq in there for good measure.
No, seeing the two, I love to Cluck where it is right now. I think a lot of Reddit don't love where it is right now. But pro players don't have those same struggles that we normies do on ladder. So when I say we normies, Crackety, I'm excluding you. So I would really like to see Msn pulling out a little healer elephant shenanigans here and overwhelming Sassy with it, because that is what we deserve. And ladies and gentlemen, Byzantines versus Delhi, let's go. Lippity. Or are we just looking at each other awkwardly? Oh, there we go.
There we go. We're jumping into it now. And there we got Creator versus Certain in the top, but it's actually not them. We got Msn in the color red playing as the Delhi Sultan. There we go, switching over there. And SAS in the color yellow playing as the Byzantines here on EGC Lipany.
Now, what I love about the early game between these is because we know Delhi, they go for the straight age up. There's no barrack shenanigans we get from these guys. It's plain old Delhi, early game, nothing crazy. But what the difference is when do we get Ghazi Raiders? Or we get Ghazi Raiders, it doesn't matter, at the same time, it's always a Ghazi. But how much does Byzantines invest into going for stone? How much do they feel comfortable going for these cisterns? Are they going to invest into level 3? Are we getting standard level 5? Because I think if you go level 5, you're just completely cooked. But with Sassy here, we'll see where that level of greed is going to be in the Byzantines and how many cisterns he's able to get up.
I think it can go all the way to 4 cisterns relatively early on. And I think it's also kind of necessary just because, like, you want to outscale the Delhi. Like, you want to stick around in Feudal Age for a long time while still outscaling the Delhi. Just because baseline Delhi, with the Ghazi Raiders, of course, they've got the better horseman unit. And you're kind of just going to be staying in your base for most of the time anyway. So you'll just be condensed inside of your base, just pumping out units. And behind that, you do want to have a very solid economy.
Now, Msn is getting a pretty solid amount of sheep here. This man going to be going to base with a very healthy helping of food. And this is so important. I mean, food is important for everyone, right? But getting this amount of food when you are the one who's going to need to produce Ghazis and constantly get that feudal control, this is going to help immensely. But Sassy is banking on the fact that, hey, my opponent's going to run out eventually, and that's where I can do my damage, especially on a map like Lipany. The problem is now, you are going to be stuck in your base a lot longer than your opponent is. Now that second cistern is coming up, and they are running right next to each other, getting a little glimpse of each, and Dome of the Faith has been clicked up already.
Yeah, Overlay does tell us that there aren't any more sheep remaining on the map anyways at this point in time, so looks like Msn, he's been fully taking up all of the sheep so far, so he's definitely setting himself up nicely here for the game as it's going to go on. Actually, looks like we do have an update there on the overlay, so 3 sheep still remaining overall. And SAS might be in a position to pick up 2 of those, but yeah, Msn, looking at the sheep count that's following his guard, he is definitely feeling good at the moment, especially as the Delhi, you know, they're already poised to like stick around in their base for a long time with the eventual pro scouts that is gonna unlock for free for them, and that's just gonna prolong that even more.
Yeah, especially because you don't even touch your sheep in the early game. In the early game, you are purely on your berries, so you already get the resource that is a little bit exposed and just fall back onto the resource that is safe under your TC. Now, getting a normal Grand Winery out here, that's good. That feels great. You are not going to get any Hippodrome shenanigans, as we just saw from the last game. But getting that Grand Winery out, it just, you need time. You need time for this to pay off. What I love about these two is the fact that we see that both of them are aging up at more or less the same time. Even though Sassy has invested in that level 2, soon to be level 3 cistern.
Yeah, level 3 cistern already boosting up the economy by a good bit, and also, of course, like unlocking the very, very fast research on your upgrades. And upgrades definitely also something that you want to like kind of keep up with the Delhi. You know that they're going to get theirs in for free, but at a later point in time. So if you just get yours in earlier, you're going to be able to pay them off much quicker and sort of like get even like that to a certain extent.
Now, Sassy is saving up for that. I was going to say, that, yeah, getting that wheelbarrow early on, and yeah, prioritizes that upgrade. So that's usually the question a lot of people have. When do I go for wheelbarrow? When do I go for double broadaxe into horticulture. So where do you... Oh, horticulture. What is the first farm upgrade? I think that's called... What is it called,
Horticulture, yeah.
Crackly? Horticulture,
It is
okay.
horticulture.
For some
Yeah.
reason, I was thinking of the English farm upgrade, and here we go, everything just out of control. So when do you prioritize wheelbarrow versus those other upgrades?
So wheelbarrow in general is very nice for the Byzantines as they do start off on the berries, and berries you are gonna automatically have a little bit more walking time associated with it, so that's why you benefit a lot more from it. It also just buffs up every single other economic gathering that you have going on, and especially when your opponent, like the Delhi Sultanate, is most likely going to be incentivized with starting off with Ghazi raiders, that early wheelbarrow helps your villagers potentially escape dicey situations.
Especially up against Ghazis, who love to sneak into those little positions and just take you out. So him already getting 2 Ghazis in the queue here. We have quite a lot of scholars coming out too. That is going to mean our upgrades coming in pretty quickly here from Mr. Delhi. And now the Limitanei already going into position to intercept that first Ghazi raider who might be thinking about coming straight for food.
Yeah, might very much do so. It is definitely the main position that you just always know the Byzantines are going to be going for. We do have the Western mercenary contract coming in now, so longbowmen are going to be on the table here shortly. SAS already has all the production buildings up that he is going to need. Already a couple of Limitani in. Msn was very quick on the archer call here, so archers are going to be joining up here very, very quickly as well, unless he still has them kept back inside of his base, because I don't see any additional red dots moving out towards MSN's base.
Now, this makes a lot of sense. You don't want to take any crazy risks out. There's one just standing there, but of course you don't want to send them out all alone. You don't know what your opponent's going for yet. Because we have seen some players, when they go for contracts, they can be a little spicy. Of course, going for something like Keshiks would be wild when you're up against the Delhi, but you can never be too certain. So keeping them safe before sending them all out to die one by one feels pretty good, but you know your opponent has gone for pure Limitanei, and now adding that horseman in. And this is where the archers have a little bit of concern. They can't just go straight up and walk out into the map for free.
Scholars now all being pulled. So Amazon, he did just finish the research on Sanctity. All of the scholars are now out on the map, starting to contest those sacred sites. And with all of them out there, that means that SAS, you know, it's going to be tough for him to really take fights, as these all of these monks also have an additional 100 and, well, not 140, but they have an additional 40 health, so they're at 130 HP right now. Don't take bonus damage from anything, so it is going to be very difficult to take these down. On top of that, also healing in combat. SAS, he can't really deny any of the sacred sites at the moment. He could send out a couple of horsemen to the outer sacred sites just to try and delay them a little bit, but he is actually moving out with a lot of his units right now. I don't think he can really take a fight here. This is one of those moments that I talked about where you have to really weigh in on the timing and really consider, okay, can I move out at the moment, or should I just stand back for a little bit longer and weigh my options? And this is definitely one of those moments. I also see that SAS hasn't actually gotten in any of the other economic upgrades yet, which MSN already has all of them unlocked, so he's kind of fallen behind a little bit in the economy that way. Of course, he does have the cistern scaling helping him for now, but you want to have the economic upgrades on top of that, because right now it's more like being even instead of being ahead.
And with Byzantines, you're so used to being able to trade efficiently. Your units are pretty good, especially with the longbows. You have a pretty good answer against most of what your opponent is doing, but at the same time, you can't move too far out, because if you lose a fight, you're not replacing those. Sassy now not getting any gold, still just investing in units. It feels like he is feeling confident about his ability to take a fight, but the ability to take a fight looks very questionable at the moment. The horses, they do get good damage on that Ghazi, but the problem is that Ghazi is going to go straight to the hospital and heal back to full. Now the villagers slowly getting out on the map, Crackety, and this is where things get very difficult for the Byzantines.
Speaking of going out on the map, somebody that's not going out on the map anytime soon is MSN, as his Pro Scout upgrade has finished for free, and he's now going up to 5 scouts, and just going to start bringing back those deer carcasses to his main TC.
And those are going to make sure that he lasts all day long, just ensuring that those upgrades that he's getting for free is all completing in Feudal now. And we can see the blacksmith ones are next in line. I felt like one just finished, but I may have been imagining things myself. Now, Sassy, on the other hand, like you said before, he doesn't have his eco upgrades, and his military ones aren't looking like they're joining too soon either. But MSN still just spending every bit of resources he can. 5 of those scholars now in queue, so he is definitely feeling confident about staying here in Feudal and spending every bit of resource, because this is usually where people divert and they go maybe for a castle age on Delhi when you have this much gold from all these sacred sites just constantly ticking. But he's spending every bit of it because he knows that if he takes a fight in Feudal, it has to matter. Both of these civilizations snowball very, very quickly. And Byzantines now, with 10 longbows, they're not at that snowball quickly moment, but they might be getting there soon.
Okay, might be getting there soon indeed, but MSN, man, that's so many scholars. It's like worst case situation, he has to take a fight. That's gonna be 12 scholars just healing the entire time, and SAS is moving out, but wow, as we mentioned, like timing, can you actually take these fights here? That's the real question. Sure, MSN is not really taking the fight yet, but that's mostly just because the Ghazi Raiders aren't here yet. He could, in theory, already start poking a little bit with his own archers.
And him getting this barracks is great, but yes, there's a lot more that you need to worry about here, sir. The horse is now going straight for the market, and all of this army is split. This feels like a nightmare awaiting to happen. The scholar's popping out, just making sure that he has that healing ready for the fight, and this is going to be a very dead army soon.
Yeah, Limitani are going to have to get sacrificed now. They're going to be pulling back. Spearmen are getting focused down. SAS trying his best to take this fight in the most effective manner possible. Limitani now once again turning around. Longbows are going to be trying to target down the spearmen, but they're already gone. The longbows don't exist anymore. There's only 3 remaining on the field. Limitani are about to get swept up as well, and SAS is losing all of his military without a way up to the next stage, and that is the issue that you face when you move out too much as the Byzantines here. When we talked about this, can you actually move out? Maybe you should stick back inside of your base and just try and play the scaling game a little bit more. SAS, he did not want to play the scaling game. He did not get the economic upgrades. He just wanted to pump military and go for a timing push, but MSN, he wasn't greedy. He kept investing into military, and now SAS is going to have to pay the price. There is barely a way for him back into this game now.
Now, Sassy was able to decap these sacred sites, and that's good because it stops his opponent from just going too far ahead with all of that gold. But the thing is, MSN has the control. He gets to dictate, okay, where am I going next? There's still a few horses here on the table for Sassy, and he's going to be able to chase these Ghazi Raiders for a little while until they get back to their reinforcements. Unfortunately, Sassy needs to make a move that actually does damage, because right now, Sassy is a sitting duck. This army from MSN is going to get very scary in the next few minutes as that castle age is on the horizon for him. We can now see this very solid army. He doesn't feel like he needs to reinforce. Sassy, though, he finds a few villagers, and he might be able to get a few kills here, but is this going to be enough after losing such a significant portion of his army?
That's the question, and oh, we do see the upgrade has been in, so SAS actually getting a little bit of gold after killing some of these villagers here. The horsemen are going to be getting an additional +2 damage up against villagers, and of course bring back 30 gold whenever they actually do manage to kill a villager. That's pretty high value here. Behind this, SAS did get an olive grove transition in, so is consistently getting more olive oil in. Villager now also about to be finishing off that level 5 cistern building there. But MSN, the timing is now for him. House of Learning is coming in. 12 villagers building that landmark. And with 12 scholars still available to use, 7 at the moment, garrisoned inside of his mosques. That means 5 are still out and could just be setting themselves up for a quick relic grab. SAS does see that, though. He does see that the scholars are moving out. So you might anticipate that the age-up is coming in.
And especially when your opponent stops putting pressure on you, you know that, hey, this is most likely an age-up shenanigan, as the pressure is just a little bit too low to make any sense. House of Learning, 13 seconds away, but these horses are going to pay the price. These arch numbers are quite scary, and also keep in mind that when you are playing the Delhi, your upgrades take a while. With the amount of scholars he's got in the base, he definitely is going to be able to get them faster. but this is a little bit of an opening for Sassy to do damage. He has a timer that he needs to do damage right now, especially with these sacred sites that he's decapped. He's not gonna try and sit here and fight this out, but with those horses stepping off the sacred site, this just means that that gold is gonna keep trickling in, and these relics are being grabbed from all around. The Ghazi Raiders do pick up the horses, one of them going down, another one getting awkwardly run around, and Ghazi Raiders are quite scary here. Both of all these upgrades coming in at the same time, and now, and the men-at-arms switch is going to be so hard for Sassy to handle, especially in early castle, when these units are definitely not equipped to deal with those men-at-arms. We can see MSN also going for that +2 ranged attack defense, or ranged defense, because he knows that those longbows are going to be the only thing between him and the men-at-arm overwhelm.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of intense now for SAS. Like, this is going to be so difficult to hold. He's about to be able to click up, but Emerson, he's already invested so much into men-at-arms. He could have gone Castle Age twice, and, you know, now also 3 relics already pretty much guaranteed for MSN, 2 more in the middle of the map that he can also go for. Golden Horn Tower is now about to be coming in for SAS, but he is still in for a rough time ahead of him. Also, gold, it's all forward at the moment for him. He doesn't really have any means of, securing the other gold veins that are in front of his base. Little Wololo also coming in. Horseman is not going to be able to stop that Scholar at the moment from bringing that relic back. He also has a lot of HP, so might be able to reconvene with the main army. Still, some small raids coming in, and SAS does see, okay, there's like triple barracks with Scholars inside. My opponent is pumping men-at-arms non-stop. This is kind of scary, and Golden Horn Tower isn't really being rushed up too much. Only 9 villagers on that at the moment. But feels like he need more like 16 villagers to get that up. Gold is very certainly about to be idled here for him. Okay, there we go. More villagers now being sent out in order to complete that as quickly as possible. Now, but this is an army that SAS is going to be... It's going to be so difficult for him to hold that. Villagers jumping inside the outpost. Reinforcement is in on these outposts. Upgrades are going to be coming in. Veterancy on the longbows, but it's already in on the archers from the Delhi. They didn't have to wait too long for that to be coming in. 1 cataphract in queue.
You can see those Limited just trying to be a little bit of a front line as the upgrades are ticking. The upgrades are taking a while though, and we can see that desperately Sassy is trying to get a few Varangian gods in himself, and they are falling as quickly as they're coming out. Cataphract now on top of the army. Oh, the horses getting a massive pickup here at the back, and this is great. The problem is your opponent has 70 more army than you, and you are in a little bit of a tough spot. Mangonel emplacement now coming out, and that's great. The problem is just that Mangonel is not going to reach all the way at the back of your base. Your TC is idle. It's a little bit tough here, and those arrows from the TC is just not enough to keep this at bay. This is an idle economy. 27 villagers idle.
Be able to hold for the time being, though. He did manage to pick off a good amount of villagers. That does give him with a little bit more gold, so he is actually able to get a couple of extra cataphracts out just courtesy of that. We do have a market that did come in here behind this for SAS as well. Doesn't quite have enough stone to go for another Mangonel emplacement. That would have really helped him out here. More longbows are coming in though. We're up to 2 cataphracts, and the Mangonel outpost in the front is going to be able to protect the gold, so SAS not completely out of it just yet. Okay, never mind, there's an overshot.
Yeah, the problem is when you as the Byzantines, you're aging up, it feels like that is the one moment of weakness where a lot of the opponents can capitalize on, and MSN was ready for that. Sassy did an amazing job being able at the back of the base to run around, destroy everything in his wake like villagers. He kept the men-at-arms out of his base for an extra while longer to give him that time to age up, but it just wasn't enough. With every crossbow that he could have potentially built, there were too many archers to take them down already. Look at that villager being extra feisty. Shiv out, taking him down. Villager stays alive, a little bit disgusting, and he is able to clean up this initial army wave that he had to defend against. Now the question is just, does MSN know how to deal with Mangonel towers? And that is usually where some people fall flat on their face. They engage into the Mangonel towers, but Sassy took a lot of damage here. And yes, he killed a ton of villagers, which is keeping him kind of in this game. but there's still that 65 military count difference, and this is the tough part.
And now MSN, he got the message. I got the map control. There's a little bit of a wall that's coming up here, courtesy of all of those military units. They're forming a nice orderly wall as they build it up as well. Sacred Side Victory is now getting locked in as well. SAS has stabilized. He is getting more military out. But MSN has a much, much bigger army. He's got all 3 sacred sites. He's got all 5 relics. He's even in villager count. So his overall income is about to eclipse what SAS has. SAS so far, he has been able to keep up overall total income. He is ahead for the time being, just courtesy of those cisterns, of course, but that is not going to last too long as MSN is about to like really eclipse him. And with 21 scholars and 6 more in queue, there's always a case to be made for a transition into an Imperial Age for the Delhi, where they just unlock every single Imperial Age upgrade within like a minute and a half. If even.
The problem is, if you go for that Imperial Age, you give your opponent that little bit of breathing room. And Byzantines is not a civilization you want to give any level of breathing room to. The problem is, that is 38 men-at-arms, Crackety, and he has 2 crossbows. And I'm actually pretty good at math. And my math is telling me that's not good.
Yeah, there's also the key leech for the men-at-arms, so they get an additional +3 damage. All the blacksmith upgrades have been researched as well for MSN. So his army, it's a deadly one. It's a deadly one. And he isn't quite going for the Imperial Age play yet. He does have the option. And honestly, when like he just might. He just might.
With all those relics in the base? Yeah, 5 relics in the base. It feels like
he's still just pumping military.
700 gold per minute, and you have 0 villagers on gold. That is the best position to be in. Unless you're HRE, then you could be in an even better position. But Sassy putting 19 villagers to work to try and catch up on that type of income, it's telling you what you need to know about this next fight. And this next fight, with all those men-at-arms, is going to be pretty damn tough. Now, these guys are running around as they need to go through the walls, and it's not that simple. Because if you auto-click, it doesn't automatically let you go through. He's making his own walls, ensuring that these sacred site timers can just keep ticking. And we've seen this before. People don't take this as a real threat. They'd rather go and attack all around. But when that sacred site timer starts hitting 5 minutes, you start to question your reality. And I feel like Sassy is about to do that.
Yeah, definitely does look like it. Outpost is getting delayed, or rather denied at all, for the time being. MSN, yeah, it doesn't look like he is going to go for the Imperial Age play after all. He just wants to go up to the full 200 out of 200 population here.
30 of them being scholars. No, they're not even pulled forward, Crackety. He doesn't feel like this is necessary. He knows... Not yet. Not yet. A few... Oh, never mind. The boys are here. They're running like Ferraris. They're going all around, ready to heal. Prayers all around, boys. Thoughts and prayers.
And there we go. Fight is getting taken. Cataphracts now coming in as well. The big front line here of the men-at-arms with the Keely just dishing out so much damage. Scholars now also pushing further to the front. Painted Shield upgrade is not in at the moment for SAS, so there's no bonus armor on these Cataphracts here at the moment. The front line is falling steadily. Only 28 military units remaining for SAS at the moment compared to the 100 of MSN. And MSN just took a lot of damage from these Mangonel outposts, but just go back and you've got 24 scholars ready to heal up.
That is a lot of scholars, but they did take quite a bit of damage there from the towers. Honestly, this takes me back to those days when herbal medicine was absolutely broken, and now it's balanced. I like this, because you see that had a price. When you play against the Tuckluck, it feels like there's no price to pay. These guys are just now healing up everyone to full. Scholars, 5 more in queue. MSN is spending every bit of resource he can, except for the ones he's going to be using to go Imperial. So, he is making sure that he's balancing that economy perfectly. With all of those scholars in queue, he's going to be ready for this. And we do see That age up is now ready to click up, and 5-minute mark has been hit. So Palace of the Sultan going to be the choice here with all those nice little elephants popping out. This is a pretty good spot to be in. Sassy now though, 24 on gold, 28 on food. Once he sees that age up, he's going to ask himself, can I do some real damage? Or do I need to go up myself? But the problem is, you're on 120 supply. You do not have the same choices as your opponent.
Absolutely not, and especially considering just how many of these scholars MSN still has available to him. I mean, these upgrades, these elite upgrades are going to be coming in so blazingly fast for him. And on top of that, every minute now, he is going to be getting a Sultan Elephant. Sultan Tower Elephant with some hand cannoneers on top of it as well. Super strong backline.
Now the villager count is pretty even. With Byzantines having that extra bonus in economy, it is technically not, but MSN is just sitting on 5 relics, right? So I feel like all things considered, it's probably pretty even when you consider that all that passive resources are coming in. Now, he is moving those 2 relics, and my big question is, where is he moving them to? As those 2 relics are being held at the moment. I'm guessing he's just holding them to be able to Wololo with in the next fight. Raggedy, where's he putting those relics?
I am not
This is not
sure.
HRE.
Yeah, he's got 2 of them out at the moment. I'm guessing that it's just going to be for potential Wololo play, as you mentioned. I don't think there's any other option for him, really.
Yeah,
Like, what else would you do with them?
And when you have this many scholars, it kind of makes sense to have that threat when you move everything forward and you just drop the relics there, pick them up one by one, and just keep Wololoing on cycle. So I can see why that would be a play. And it feels like a pretty MSN play to do. He did put them back for now, though, as he realizes I do not want to take a fight just yet. Need to make sure
Maybe
I get
just
to 200
misclicked
supply.
onto... Yeah, maybe just misclicked onto one of the mosques there.
Now, with Sassy now, he knows the age up is there. He knows that there's a little bit of a timer for himself. He's on 49 gold per minute. So this means Sassy realizes I'm not going to be able to just outlast. I'm most likely going to need to take a fight. Problem is, Mangonel Towers are going to make this a little bit easier for him to do. And MSN is finding the response to that. Getting a bombard now with a little trebuchet to accompany and slowly push forward through those. Elephant life. Oof.
Ooh, we're getting a keep up
finding-
here in the front. With a cistern, though. So can get the bonus on that for defense. Now elephants here. Already 2 tower elephants. One of them is Sultan's tower elephant. Fight is being taken. SAS, I mean, he can't go Imperial Age. It's just not a possibility for him. Gold access also just not there at all.
Well, this keep is
Lombo's trying to
providing...
step back.
Yeah, it's providing a little bit of a pathing, I guess, goodness here. But those
Obstacle,
elephants... Yeah, the elephants are just not dying. You can see the archers are trying to fire at things, but nothing looks like they're taking damage. The elephants are just frontlining here, getting on
They
top.
get the
Mangonel
additional
Tower.
armor upgrade. They got 14 ranged armor wham, and they're not taking damage from the crossbows or the longbowmen at this point.
How do you kill them then?
Horsemen
prayers?
or spearmen. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's not realistic to kill them, to be fair, at this point.
That's what you get for letting Delhi get to this point of the game. The obstacle at the front did not provide enough obstaclism, and unfortunately, it looks like these horses are going to be sitting ducks as well, as all these upgrades have gone through, except for the melee armor, +3 now. Even incendiary arrows is coming out, and Sassy is very much stuck in castle with no answer of dealing with even this existing army.
Amazan, he's kind of just toying a little bit with his prey here at the moment. Sass, though, he is kind of letting himself be toyed with at the moment, so the question is who's to blame here?
Delhi. That's who's to blame.
Delhi, oh, yeah, I mean, Delhi
Delhi.
is just the root of all evil at the end of the day.
Look how fast that elephant is. It looks like he's sprinting. He's sprinting right towards the crossbows and the archers. Poor guy. Now, these Mangonel Towers are going to do a great job at handling the archers, but you still have to be careful here because you can quickly lose a big group of units. But the problem now is The elephants are ready to provide that front line he's been missing. The horsemen trying to get focus fire that elephant as well. And he does look like he's taking a bit of damage, but it's not enough. And Sassy has had enough. MSN, the kid is doing some work. Very nice performance here.
Yeah, GG comes in. The Delhi victorious here up against the Byzantines. To be fair, just looking at the military value lead here, Whammon, there might have been a bit of a theme going on in this game. Sure, I mean, the scholars probably do get counted in towards that, but it still was an overwhelming lead all throughout. And then the Imperial Age came in, so many scholars, the upgrades just rapidly coming in. SAS, he took one unfortunate fight, and I feel like the game was just kind of over after that. Though SAS had a couple of opportunities there for him to come back into it. It's just, the gap just kept widening and widening. MSN just played this one really solidly, not too aggressive. He definitely didn't want to give any additional chances over to SAS as the game kind of started closing out from there on out. And yeah, overall, just well played here by MSN. Does mean that he does get the first point up on the scoreboard here. And looking at the next draft, we're going to be looking at French versus Malians. And that is a matchup that historically has been incredibly well favored for the Malians, with the Donzos, with the javelin throwers just doing a lot of base, additional base damage, having the faster knights, and just overall cleaner farm transitions. It's one of those matchups where French are going to have to play differently if they want to win.
Now, saying that, Crackety, this is interesting because a lot of the top players that I've spoken to about this matchup, because of course, when we all sit together, we talk about matchups, right? So Malians, it used to be very much favored over French, but in recent times, French has done pretty well at dealing with Malians. So I think this one may not be up to the matchup. A lot of the top players have said that French does pretty well against Malians. And I remember the days when Malians was the direct instant counter to this, but I don't know. I think there's still a lot to be said for the playstyle, especially with Sassy being on French here. Sassy is someone who is so good at raiding. And French is definitely one of his comfort civilizations. Knight civilizations have always been like a trademark Sassy civ. So he just needs to find that damage. The thing is, Sassy is very easy at overcommitting with some of those knights. And MSN, he gets to be a little bit of a cheeky goose sometimes. He's really good at sitting back when he needs to and ensuring that he does the damage that way. But again, also sometimes with Sofas, he tends to be a little bit greedy in a way. So I think both of these players, this is going to depend on how they play, not just on the civilization matchup directly. Oh, and we do get to take a look at this bracket. Crackety, walk us through.
Yeah, so looking at it overall, Numidan currently up against Happy Cats. SAS vs MSN, that's the one that's going on right now. Kiljadi with a very quick victory here up against Jiv Music, waiting for whoever is winning between Myriad and Creator, where Creator is actually currently leading in the set 1-0. Valdemar vs Gully Deckle still ongoing, already on their fourth game. Valdemar currently leading 2-1. Ayame versus Miyamaika, where Miyamaika is currently leading 1-0, and Scatterbrained beating out Lash 3-0 and waiting for the victor between Scarlet Devil and Eliona.
Now, honestly, Scatterbrained taking down Lash 3-0, I'm a little bit excited about. I know Scatterbrained is also from Belarus. I know he practices with B and Anatan, and he, every now and again, he pops up, he destroys people, and then he slides back into the darkness. So I would really like to see Scatterbrained giving Eliona quite a bit of a go, but I do believe this is going to be a pretty stacked and close set of games for us. And there's only 2 spots remaining, ladies and gents. But 1 minute to go, and we have Dry Arabia for this. So for the rest of this draft, what I potentially want to look at, we have Pigeon's View, we have Gorge and Frisian Marshes. When you look at the drafts between these two, who do you think is in a more comfortable spot? Because from my perspective, I feel like MSN definitely has stronger civilization choices on his side.
Looking at the draft here overall when it comes to remaining civilization choices, so we got Frisian Marshes. That's most likely going to be either Achuri or Japanese for SAS, just because Japan, of course, with the Pons is working out quite nicely. MSN can pick the Tuklak there. We've seen Tuklak on Frisian Marshes just working phenomenally. Pigeon's View, that's a little bit of a slower-ish map. Could be either the Macedonians or the Rus for SAS. MSN, once again, has a lot of choices there. Could be China, could be Shushi's Legacy, could be the Ayubids as well, as Pigeon's View does have additional berries available. Gorge could also be, once again, China, Shushi, but could also be House of Lancaster for MSN. On SAS's side, that could be Hri, could even be Mongols or also Macedonians. Rus also an option, though Rus kind of synergize a little bit more with Pigeon's View, I would say.
This is why we give the best insights, guys. Crackety. Brought to you by Crackety. Insights.com. Let's roll in. Guys, let's go see what French and Malians has in store for us. And I am excited because we have that question of French versus Malians, who counters what counters who, etc., etc. Let's go see what that looks like. Now, Sassy, I see 25 wood has been spent, so we're most likely going to get our normal wheelbarrow opening, which makes a lot of sense for the French, because with French, you want to get as much of that... Wait. Did I misjudge that? Oh, I did. I didn't realize. I thought it was a mill already put down. So with French, what I absolutely love is very often they go for the wheelbarrow opening, which is great because... especially when you're playing against Malians, they're not a civ that has stuff in your face in the next few moments. They need a little bit of time to get ramping up. So getting that little bit of a bonus and ensuring you have wheelbarrow in the Dark Age, it feels good. And it feels good against the civilization that eventually will make a lot of raiding units and force you to respond accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, being able to get the wheelbarrow in early is very nice in general, but I feel like this matchup just is doomed in so many ways, kind of baseline. Especially at the moment. If you play Malians cleanly at the moment, it really feels like French don't have a lot of opportunities to scale or do a lot of damage. Like, you're still most likely just going to want to go all in Feudal Age with the French here. You do want to go for a lot of damage up against them. You're going to have to really get a specific timing. Like, you have to deny Malians from hitting Castle Age for a long time. You have to also, like, just keep them in Feudal Age, because at an eventual point in time, in Feudal Age, like, if you're getting to, like, really high army population numbers, that's when the French start getting a little bit more effective, a little bit more efficient. But Malians, as long as you just don't play too greedy, you can always kind of just keep up with the French. I'm talking like the kind of just one cattle ranch with 3 cattle inside into just build units, get upgrades, build units, and stick it out in Feudal Age. And with that kind of strategy, it's just so difficult for the French to find avenues of doing damage and, just getting to that point where they can confidently all in the opponent underneath their TC.
Sassy realizes this, Crackety. He realizes it because he doesn't go for that wheelbarrow I yapped about for so long. He goes for a fast age up, like just a normal, clean age up without the wheelbarrow. He wants that knight, and he needs it now. He realizes this civilization is going to spiral out of control if I don't land the damage I want to land. So I love this adaptation from Sassy already. He knows how quickly he needs to make sure that this matters so fast. Monster Quarry with 5, pretty standard here for our player. I actually have a question here, and this is something I usually do this on my side as well. I always want to understand what landmark is better. Is there any instance where you would go for the defensive landmark over the Mansa Quarry?
The thing is, I personally would say no, just because the second you don't go for the Mansa Quarry, you immediately lose 2 villagers. Like, it's just 2 villagers worth of income that you do not have. The Saharan Trade Network is really nice to be able to just defend even against armored units in Feudal Age. In general, it gives you like a very nice fallback point at any one point in the game. The main issue that I have with that landmark is that the other condition to unlock value out of it is trade, and that's just not meta at the moment for the Malians. So you only have that defensive aspect of it, but isn't it just much better to have 2 more villagers worth of income and not be forced on the defensive in the first place?
That's a good point. Oh, nice. Thank you. And now we see why MSN will always go for the right choice and go for the Mansa Quarry. But now we have a We have a scout as the first choice and professional scouts as the second choice, Crackety. And I'm honestly a little bit surprised to see this. I'm surprised, but at the same time, I also understand why Sassy is going for this. Because when you look at the spawn, you can see that Sassy has two forward deer. And when you're up against the Malians, you do want to land an attack. You do need to do the damage as quickly as you can. But at the same time, if you don't get food, you're not going to be able to do this. He didn't get as many sheep as the MSN did. So he's going to need these food sources, and he's going to need them now, especially if he's going to be making knights and trying to overwhelm Malians. But this does give MSN just that extra bit of breathing room to get those cows in the pens, and he's already got 4.
Yeah, that's quite a lot immediate, like, just to go on immediately. That's the 5th one there as well. Yeah, I mean, double cattle ranch already full. That means that he is gonna very much be able to keep up with the additional pro scout income here from the French, and just as the game goes on, he's gonna be scaling quite nicely, even up against the additional villagers that are gonna be coming in for the French. We do see the first Donzo coming in. SAS actually making a horseman instead of an additional knight. Second stable now also coming in, but with the addition of the Donzos already at this point in time, means that no, SAS, these horsemen, these knights, they're not really gonna find any real damage, and they're also gonna be hard-pressed when it comes to really denying the spearmen from denying a pro scout delay.
And even if he gets both those deer packs, that's going to be great. The problem is he also cannot deny some of the food on MSN's side, but at this point it doesn't look like MSN is too worried about that either. He got the majority of the sheep. He's got a pretty solid food income with those cattle already in their ranches, and now number 7 has joined the ranch party, and the archery range finally being put down as well. Now, these horses, if they land, they might take a lot of damage, and he needs to be careful here. Doubling down on the second barracks as well. That is a pretty safe choice when you're up against the French, but the archer numbers, they are going to start mattering.
SAS, he's yoinking away one of the deer there from MSN, but MSN, he went for a wall around the wood line, and now that horse, that scout that just grabbed that deer carcass, he's a little bit lost. Wait, actually, did SAS just drop the deer? He's just laming the deer away with a single scout. Like, he's just taking a deer and dropping it somewhere else. That is nasty, disgusting, and I love it.
Now, I've seen Sassy do sneaky things like this, and it makes me respect him, because this is the type of stuff you do when you are killing a sheep on someone's gold, so they can't build their pet mine. This is the kind of thing you do when you kill the boar and make it disappear, because you're a Muslim civilization.
This is some AoE2 level laming that's going on right now. He dropped one of them already, like, in the stealth forest as well, just spreading them as far away as possible.
And
he's dropping it all the way in the corner. That's so mean. He's so mean with that.
A nice little TC between those could feel pretty good. Your villagers running really fast all around. Is he going to hide it in the stealth forest as well? I think he forgot to put that down.
Yeah, he misclicked that. Oh, he notices? Okay.
He's like, back to the corner, sir. We're going to go drop you down. Now, this is going to be quite confusing if you're MSN looking at your deer pack in stealth. And you're like, where are they going? How are they dying? Is he pro scouting on my side? I put up walls everywhere. Is there a hole somewhere?
And at one point, he's always going to consider, oh yeah, I got deer in the back. I got deer in the back. I can always go in the deer in the back. There's always money in the banana stand, right? But the banana stand doesn't exist anymore.
Banana stand's depleted. But Sassy, he's making more and more archers. We see a limited amount of knights, which I think is a responsible choice. Of course, you know exactly your opponent is going to double down on the Donzos. You saw the double barracks. You need to be a little bit more careful with this. But at the same time, this is Malians. You're not playing against another civilization that you can just be like, hey, I'm French. I can sit back. I can let my little bit of passive extra villagers do the talking. You need to be active. And right now, Sassy doesn't have a spot to be active in. Ooh. Let's see. Sassy now, moving out with those knights. I say that, he wasn't moving out, and now he's listening. He's like, oh yes, let me move out. Let me go and find this man in his base and do a little bit of damage. He's going to need to go through that wall, and it does make it a little bit tougher. But with those Donzos, he's got 20 of them pretty soon. And they are going to do a pretty good job at just throwing spears from afar into the knight's face. And then we get how I took a Donzo to the knee kind of vibes from these knights. Look at that deer. The deer is on top of the gold. Is this the moment where he cannot place the pit mine?
Might be.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, he can't place it. And he's going for the mill.
Now that is dirty, Sassy. Sassy knew this is the right way to do it. Production just told us they fixed it for sheep, but they didn't fix it for deer. So it's the price you gotta pay. MSN now, he's a little bit on the forward gold here, so it does feel a little bit more exposed. But again, you're up against a lot of Donzos, and they are going to have a field day when those knights come too close. That villager, though, he needs to be careful. From two sides, Sassy is raiding. The double prong attack, that is a Sassy
that villager.
special.
The villager has nowhere to go. Double prone attack, though, one of the attack is only done with scouts at the moment, just to harass a little bit. Oh, MSN losing another villager there for free. But yeah, up to 22 Donzos at the moment. That is enough Donzos to even one-shot, well, not just knights, but also archers.
Now, the archer numbers are scary enough for him to respond with more and more javelins. But we do see a war play here. And the knight is going to be the one tanking, as these vills need to be healthy when the sofas arrive for a little bit of raiding. Now, he keeps trying to pick off here, but the javelin numbers are increasing, and it's going to be a little bit harder to deal with this as time goes on. But Sassy, he's floating a bit of resources here, Crackety. Is this the moment he goes for castle? Do you even want to go castle?
Say I doubt it, because like he's also like grabbing military upgrades in the meantime. There we go, more economy upgrades coming in as well. So it might not be the timing that he wants to go for Castle Age here. But then again, like he wouldn't like completely stop investing. So maybe he is actually just trying to go for Castle Age. At a certain point with archers, you do want to get the tech advantage up against the javelin throws, because that's when you can finally start doing damage with archers against javelin throws. Javelin throwers still do well though. And yeah, I don't think that even with a Castle Age, like I don't think SAS can force an all-in. Behind this MSN, he is on 15 cattle, so his income is still looking very, very solid in the food department, and he can eventually just follow up. And the thing is, Malians is like one of the few civilizations where they're fine with staying behind an age for a longer duration than others.
And especially if you have the production buildings to support this. And the Donzos are turning here, trying to just scare off the horses. They are able to do so, even though they are not that many. So Sassy does not want to take any risks with him now aging up. But MSN, seeing that age up, he is most likely going to want to respond in similar suit, especially with having 36 Donzos at the ready. He probably feels pretty confident about staying alive once this castle age is in. Now, the archers are moving in a little bit closer, just to ensure that they can pick off any Donzo daring coming closer. But the knights, again, they've got the legs, and they are going to try to be the mobile guys they need to be. Now, MSN is about to get that little bit of a surprise here, but more javelin throwers in queue and 18 cattle in their ranches. This is a pretty good spot for MSN already. With the eco only being a 13 villager difference, that is still pretty healthy for a Malian player. Now he sees that, we see he stops producing any units, and he's most likely just going to follow him up to castle, getting your upgrades at a pretty good time as well.
The age up has come in. We're seeing the veterancy coming in on both the Royal Knights as well as the archers. Interestingly enough, I'm not sure how exactly this got counted, but MSN has like only a 70% economic efficiency. Not quite sure what's up with that, how that got caused. Maybe it has something to do with cattle as well. Not quite sure about that. I don't think he's only had 70% economic efficiency. I don't think that was that much walking time, but there's the Grand Fulani Corral now going to be coming in here. Second layer of walls at the top side coming in, so MSN wants to make sure that he's not getting overrun on one side there. Looks like he tried to rebuild the houses on the pit mine. Is going to most likely just lose another villager there to the knights as they're going to be going for the charge. Might even be two villagers that are going to be going down there. And now SAS also sees the age up that's coming in from MSN, so villagers are going to have to scatter a little bit. Now finish off the landmark.
Getting another kill feels good, but this is also the moment that Malians is at its weakest when you just hit that age up. And it looks like Sassy is going to bank on this. The moment that age up comes through, looks like he's confident enough diving. We do see that +2 range deck coming in, but these knights are taking a lot of damage here from all the Donzos, attacking right into them with the TC as backup as well. And honestly, that was a significant amount of damage. I don't know if Sassy just kind of threw it right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, the Malians, they're fine with sticking it behind, and they have so many, just so many units out there in Feudal Age that just are still having hard counter relationships, the units in Castle Age, now also with their Castle Age upgrades. MSN, he's in a pretty damn good spot at the moment overall, like, enough pit mines out, like the pit mines haven't really been harassed too much, he's got all the cattle in the world that he really needs at the moment, and yeah, has the military lead. Now is the moment where, with this much static army, he could also invest into some more mobile units like the Sofa and just try and start raiding. SAS behind this is investing a lot into priests, so he is going to be getting the relics in one by one.
Unfortunately for him, he steps on that sacred site. And I feel like in a lot of cases, players realize, oh yes, relics. So Sassy doing this already tells MSN, oh yeah, I need to do something about these relics as well. So as long as you keep it quiet, I feel like a lot of players don't always react, even at this level. But now Sassy, he gets a pretty good charge on these Donzos, but he doesn't want to take too much damage, does pull them back, gets just the charge, and has to pull back before the rest of the reinforcements arrive. And ready with their spears to just throw it right into the knight and destroy him. But 46 of them, no knight can withstand that.
Now, first Sofa has made its way onto the battlefield. SAS behind this has enough stone for a keep now, so he is going to start getting the discount in a space as well for the units.
How does the Sofa match up against the knights?
Not well. Like, the knight definitely still destroys the Sofa, but the Sofa is faster, so you can decide when to take engagements.
Okay. I was wondering what the key difference is going to be here for these two. Now, Sassy, he looks like he wants to engage constantly, but he's just seeing exactly what those number of Donzos mean. And apparently Donzos was the answer here. So far now, going all the way through, even getting taken down here is just a way for him to absorb so many shots here from the archers. MSN needs to be careful here. He cannot overinvest, but at the same time, he needs to try and pick off a unit here and there, as Sassy's food is not going to be in the same position in the next 3 minutes, with that ball running out pretty soon as well. Now, a relic also picked up from MSN, and that is going to make it a little bit nicer for him in the gold department, as those backward golds have been quite nicely defended, but as time goes on, you want to make sure you at least can steal away a little bit from the French. With him going for the guild hall, he loves going for that late game, but MSN is now on the offensive, and luckily for Sassy, that keep is in a pretty good spot. I say luckily, but that's all skill. Sassy ensuring that his base is a little bit safer, and these units are not going to have the power to attack right through.
It is going to make it much harder now for MSN to really push into the base with the keeping there, and SAS is going to be able to start reinforcing with much cheaper units. The issue still that's going on, though, is there's just so many units at the moment from MSN. He's got so much more income sustained as well behind this. SAS looks to be getting 4 out of the 5 relics, but that doesn't really make up for the difference in cattle here. SAS also doesn't really have any semblance of a farm transition going for himself at the moment, so at one point he is going to have to start investing into that, and that's going to in turn deplete the resources that he wants to spend on military.
It's so strange to see a French player with the knights being this far back into the base constantly. So he respects this, and I love the fact that he just absorbed all those shots from the Donzos, split between the knights, and pulled back so that they can heal up. Really smart move here. Now, MSN, he's just building more and more and more Donzos. And at what point do you ask yourself, maybe we need more Sofas to cause my French opponent to have to respond in different directions? Or if the Donzos is the right answer and he can just go all the way through. But it looks like he has Imperial on his mind, and with a defensive landmark as such, he should be able to get a pretty decent chunk of control on this map.
Yeah, control is definitely something that MSN should now start to reclaim if he goes into Sofa, but instead it looks like he's actually just gonna be going straight for Imperial, and there is a very good spot for the Fortress of the Huntress here, and that is right in the middle, next to that large 8k gold vein. Being able to have stealthed up units in the middle of the map, that is invaluable when it comes to positioning units, and there it is. Fort of the Huntress is going to be coming in, and it's right next to that 8k gold vein, so we'll be able to have all of these infantry units here stealthed up completely, meaning that SAS, he's going to be struggling when it comes to just knowing how many units and where exactly they are for MSN. Some stone walls coming up here on the side, so SAS is going to be able to restrict at least a little bit of raiding opportunities here from MSN. And he's got a lot of resource in the bank with the guild hall, so he could also just try and go for a potential Imperial Age follow-up now.
Now, what's interesting to me is the fact that he's not invested more into getting the rest of the gold. Those villagers on wood there at a tiny little gold mine is gonna probably react the moment this hits. I say the moment it hits, but he's probably gonna react right now. He sees it, he knows what's coming, he needs to find a response to try and get a little bit of control. We do see a red dot there at the top, and it looks like MSN is the one who is now raiding with Donzos, since there are so many of them.
Now the stone wall is coming up now.
Ooh, and Sassy, he's played this game before, Crackety. He knows, I'm not going to attack into your landmark. I'm going to attack right into your eco, and that's exactly where he's going. He knows where the wall is, but the problem is, that is a significant portion of his army, and there's a big army ready for his base as well. The knight's going to be breaking right through into the eco. Question now is he going to be able to do the damage he needs?
He's at the very least going to be able to distract. Look at all of the Onzos that are now getting sent back here. And SAS, he knows that he doesn't want to like invest like his entire military into this raid. So he just splits off 2 knights to already cause a lot of idle time here now for MSN's economy. MSN behind is actually adding in a second TC. Farm transition is finally coming in for SAS, and SAS now has more than enough food to be able to just go for the Imperial age up. If he just redeems from the guild hall, villagers inside that outpost are gonna get picked off, are gonna go down. SAS, where is he gonna go for the age up? In theory, the bottom 8k gold vein next to the sacred site would be an excellent spot for him to control with the red palace.
Especially if you're playing against an opponent who makes invisible
that's where he's
units. Going. We do see that these villagers are standing waiting for that moment to click it up, but he still has not redeemed from the guild hall as he's focused on this fight.
But that's already where MSN has a couple of units, just because he knows where would I build a landmark if I was SAS. And that is the spot. And he's here to deny it, to deny SAS the chance at winning this game.
No,
MSN, he hasn't quite noticed yet.
Oh no.
MSN. Is SAS actually getting the... Nah, he can't. The spearmen are there. The spearmen are there. They suddenly appear. SAS, he's not watching. He's not paying. He paid attention. He cancels. But that is a lot of delay now on the age up for him. And he is not able to secure the 8k gold vein. Instead, has to put it back up here next to the small 4k gold vein. At least it's also next to a rather large stone outcropping. So he will be able to later on get a normal keep up to secure the 8k gold vein, but for now, not being able to secure that does hurt him immensely.
And especially the position of that red palace. That red palace is not in a position where it's actually supporting your base. It's just a little bit too far. So the units that will be able to stream through here between these 2 tiny wood lines, they are still going to make that impact. We have a 1 keep in the base there, and that's great. But the problem is that red palace was supposed to give him a lot more control. Now, it looks like MSN is not sure where to attack, though. He's got 1 bombard in the way. He knows I'm not going to be fighting into keeps without that. And he's most likely going to ignore this red palace, because this red palace, like you said, secures the gold, and that's it. Now, the knights are getting their upgrades, and that's going to be wonderful, especially with 29 of them. But MSN also has a pretty good time here where he can make this damage matter. I feel like the later the game goes, though, Sassy should be in a pretty good spot, right?
The thing
As
is,
French.
yeah, I mean, the thing is that long term, like MSN, he's got a solid amount of just passive income all the way, and he never needs to like have as much population and economy units as SAS. Multiple things that he can scale into. For one, of course, is toll outposts. Toll outposts can mean that MSN could get a total of 50% additional gold from his trade if he wants to go to trade. Like, if this is going to be a trading game, 50% more gold from it. That's quite big. Second, he's got the Fort of the Huntress in the middle of the map. He's going into the Musafati Gunners as well. And if we select the Musafati Gunners, just check out the damage that these guys have. Plus 41. It's the first attack after being stealth for Musafati units. That absolutely destroys just about everything in the game. 81 damage, like, knights just kind of melt like butter with the first attack on that one. And it's just these reasons that just make Malians such a menace, even in the later stages of the game. Villagers just gonna jump inside of the Fort of the Huntress, which, by the way, also shoots poison arrows, not normal arrows.
And it looks like he is able to get a little bit of idle time, but those knights are just keeping the units busy. And I think that's maybe the goal here. He doesn't want to allow him to attack into the base. He needs the army to pull back, because if he wants to take a good engagement, he cannot do it into a group of donzos like that. Especially now with the hand cannoneers. Oh, they are... At 27, you have an answer for most of these units. But Sassy, he's doubling down on the knights. He's still making knights, still getting archers. He is ready for this. And it looks like he's going to take a fight there at the bottom.
Fight is being taken here, but that's not a good one for SAS at the moment. That's where the majority of the javelin throwers is at the moment. They're all upgraded to elite as well.
Well, these knights are keeping these units busy, but they are able to heal up. The question is just, when are they ready for an engagement? It doesn't look like that's ever, but Sassy is just not able to amass the same level of units as MSN. You can see MSN floating 2,000 food as well, and he's got a lot in queue at the same time. Now, these hand cannoneers are making quick work of these knights, as we see the yellow bodies just scattered around the path where he was running. Now, Donzo's looking for a little bit of damage too, and MSN is now on two fronts, doing a lot of pressure.
Two fronts indeed, and with the bombards being there as well, means that MSN just has a lot of anti-infrastructure pressure here as well. SAS can't just hide between walls, can't just hide behind keeps. He's gonna have to react with units there as well. That's what makes this so difficult here now for SAS to react to, and there's actually a hole, I believe, in the walls there for SAS at the top side, and yeah, there's a point where MSN, in theory, can just walk through with the Donzos.
Now that little hole might be a little bit of a threat for him there at the top with no defense either. But these bombards are the real issue. We do see cannons coming out from French too, but it's a tough spot because he wants this to be taken care of now. And you can see the knights are just not able to connect where they need to be. The archers have to pull back as these javelin throwers are in the mix as well, just sniping off everything they can. And you can see him shift clicking these perfectly. Those archers just paying the price constantly. But MSN staying close to that pop cap, and Sassy is just not able to reach it.
One Royal Cannon here tries to fight off against the two bombards. And MSN just continues to slow push towards SAS' base. SAS did just take out his guild hall. There's not a lot of resource that he has in the bank at the moment, so I'm not quite sure what exactly he had that on until now. It's on gold now. More farms coming in as well.
Looks like that guild hall finally switched over to gold. Ooh, but we do see the bombards walking very far forward. And they just pull back. This is not a position where they can easily get destroyed. That keep that was supposed to defend, it's just not in that position he needs it to be. But the bombards, with two bombards, you can pretty quickly take care of it. The units here at the back He needs to be sure that he doesn't get collapsed on, but all the hand cannoneers are standing very far forward. Donzo's moving in, trying to get a pretty good chonking on these with the javelin throwers now going straight for the back line as well, but this army from MSN is never ending.
And the army count, it's just so much coming in behind the 16 more Musafadi gunners in queue as well. Such a high value unit to have here. A couple of villagers getting pulled to try and deal with the siege. Front line kind of ebbing off a little bit for MSN, so SAS is getting a little bit of a reprieve here. But only temporarily. These Musafadi gunners, they deal a good bit more damage than normal hand cannons as well. They do about 10% more damage than normal cannoneers.
And with that, the knights are just getting absolutely melted. I don't think there's anything Sassy in this position can do to shut this down. You can see that army value lead graph looking very red right now, as MSN looks to be pretty dominant in this spot. Right now, he's got 1 relic. Sassy has 4. But it doesn't look like that's going to be a deciding factor here at all. He's got control of the golds. Sassy is struggling to get all those resources to just get back up to them. And MSN now doing a little bit of a food transition here, getting keeps on the rest of the sacred sites. He knows that all of a sudden the sacred site victory could have been an option. But now Sassy quickly getting rid of that option on his side.
Yeah, SAS is not giving this one up just yet. He is French in the late game, and French in the late game are a menace to behold for sure. That is if they have gold access, something that SAS at the moment really kind of does not. There is, of course, the option of him going into trade. He does have the guild hall on gold at the moment. There is still 1 gold vein available next to his walls at the top side. The other gold vein, not really something that he can go for, at least not without some siege. The 8k gold vein, that's also being taken by MSN at the moment. There's a keep right next to it as well. So SAS, he's just kind of like forced into his base. There's not really any raids going on. And that's a difficult situation for him to be in, for sure. There's so many production buildings for MSN. Can we just select a villager quickly for MSN and see just how many production buildings he's got working for him at the moment? Because I do believe like it's quite a lot. So SAS, 9 stables, 6 ranges, and 16 barracks at the moment for MSN. He can pump those out quite quickly.
Now, MSN, his composition here, I feel like everything he builds, it doesn't look like the answer of Sassy just doesn't have the answer to it. Right now, when you're looking at this composition, you ideally want to find a way to deal with those masses of units. And right now, Knights are just not doing that. Sassy making a few more archers, but the Mangonel in this mix is a pretty good response to all of it. Those sacred sites not being decapped, it feels pretty scary here for Sass. Because yes, he's got the villager advantage now, but he needs to find a way to push through this. And he says the way to do it is just to keep making knights. So still investing into those knights, 28 now. And where does he attack, Rackety? How does he break MSN here?
It's so difficult to break MSN. Can we check the wall that MSN has at the bottom? Is that a palisade or is that a stone wall? That is a palisade wall. Okay, so raids are definitely one thing here that SAS just needs to like somehow start doing. He also needs a second bombard. For one bombard is nice and all, but you need a second bombard to truly have like fast killing pressure on a keep. We're getting another fight instead at the moment. Now the archers from SAS with silk bowstrings, they've got a lot of range on them. So these fights at the moment are actually quite beneficial for him. It's like a lot of back and forth, and MSN isn't really committing to taking the fight. SAS can also just kind of step back and forth. And there aren't that many Donzos remaining at the moment, but we're up to 45 Musafadi gunners now. So this fight is still not something that's really looking too hot here at the moment for SAS. He's now switching into horsemen instead. Definitely it's better to throw away horsemen into cannoneers rather than knights, as that's just a much more expensive unit overall. Up to 1400 gold at the moment in the guild hall. I feel like you just want to start exchanging trash units for time being until your guild hall gets to a very nice and healthy, like 3000, 4000 gold. That's when you can redeem it and just start pumping out high value knight units again. At the moment, he's just struggling with trying to like combat this non-stop army here. couple of Donzos do find some kills there. It's not too big of a deal. There's a keep there that's going to be able to deal with it, so he doesn't really need to react to that. At the moment, he's just continuously able to trade out with his archers against the Musafadi gunners. As long as he's able to do that time and time again, because MSN, he's not really keeping that big of a bank. Any single one of these Musafadi gunners takes a good bit of time to reproduce.
And you can see with him losing that control at the top, MSN is so focused on doing what he can here. Now, getting that second TC, I was about to say, is that a third TC? No, it's a second TC. And he is going to be able to take care of this. But at the same time, he needs to make sure he doesn't lose too much. Now, getting control of the top side is not going to be too difficult for him. As we can see, Sassy is just not able to constantly reproduce here. The horseman numbers now increasing, but he needs to make sure that they're rallied backwards, because if they're rallied forwards, they're just gonna get picked off the moment they step out. The archers trying to do what they can against these gunners, and they're doing a pretty good job at that, but he still
just so many.
Yeah, exactly, and they just get replaced so quickly.
I think he just got a little bit too close to the Red Palace there. A lot of gunners just suddenly lost their lives. But we're up to 60 Donzos at the moment. And the Red Palace, yeah, goodbye bombards. That was a quick end to them. So MSN has to be really careful there with the army positioning, as the Red Palace is a menace to behold for sure. SAS still just skirting back time and time again, but MSN, he's just relentless with these pushes, now falling back to another keep.
And slowly, this push is getting very deep into the base. The Mangonel trying to target fire these archers. And Sassy has done an amazing job at kiting it for most of this, which I think is exactly why this fight hasn't looked as completely one-sided. The reinforcement is on Sassy's side, though, so he will have that time to actually respond. And he doesn't respond fast enough, and the bombard pays the price? Yeah, it pays the price.
It's the bombard, yeah, that's pretty good. SAS still no way to set up trade at the moment. He does actually have like 2,000 stone. That is the moment for him to just get a large stone wall up and secure trade. Secure the trade route, wall the top side, and just start trading, get the gold in. He's actually going for a forward keep here now. Wants to buy himself a little bit of breathing room at the top side, at the middle side there.
Ooh, but losing some knights and running forward, trying to just, I guess, scout or find some damage. But he bought himself some breathing room. By taking care of those bombards, he's able to build that keep, and it's not going to get sniped down instantly. MSN, though, he's not making more siege. He's not making anything at the moment. And, oh, I say that. He's making a scholar. Gonna go and get that sacred side back. He realizes, I need more than one win condition. This is a still French late game with 3,100 gold in that guild hall. And Cracky, that's very close to the number you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, so we are getting to that point where SAS is going to be able to start just affording a lot of knights suddenly. And if you get to like 100 knights, like there's few units that can really like stem the tide there, right? Like even if there's like 60, 70 Donzos against 100 knights, the knights are still going to win that. And a 1-for-1 engagement. Archers still just kiting back and forth here. SAS doing a great job with that, and MSN, at this point, I really just want to say, like, he's been doing a great job to get to this point, but I can't understand the aversion. Like, he made one Mangonel, why not make 3 or 4? It's just mass archers, and with the adjustable crossbars, he would be able to absolutely annihilate the archers, and this entire back and forth could kind of be done with in that regard. Donzo's also, Sofa also would be an option for him now. He's floating a lot of food. He still has a good amount of gold income. The later this game goes, with the 4 relics that SAS has, the better for him.
Yeah, the problem is just with Sassy slowly getting control of this map. Oh, we even have villagers all the way at the front here trying to desperately get into that keep. But the knights are a little bit chunky for the keeps to actually do the fighting with as well. We see these trades with the archers. Sassy is able to just use these trash units and clean up some of these more expensive ones. And all of a sudden, MSN is not in the military lead. And this is not something we've seen in a very, very long time. He's still got all that food, like you mentioned, but he doesn't have a way to clean up this army all of a sudden.
Yeah, now MSN once again starts pushing. Finally, we start seeing the sofas coming in as well. That's going to be the front line against the archers that he really needed here the entire time. Because the back line, the Musafari gunners, they're decent against the knights. It's just the sofas at the moment. The archers just keep decimating them time and time again. Keep has gone up now here next to the sacred site, so that is going to be the third sacred site finally locked in. Feels like it's been forever since MSN went for a sacred site again. We also see a large wall now, also denying any potential good trade avenues for SAS, so long term that is also looking a lot better. SAS, though, he's taking a position at the front side. All up to 5,000 gold in the guild hall. We're getting to the point where SAS can just redeem that and get to that, like, insanely large knight mass push.
Mm-hmm. And getting to this knight number, you usually don't have any answer to this, because with knights, they're gonna run around your donzos eventually. But what are they gonna hit? They're probably gonna go straight for the food, but the problem is the rest of the resources in the map are running out. That's exactly where they need to be landing. Sofa's now gonna try to find raids of their own, but we can now see Sassy is not waiting for this. He's got that 2 bombards, and they're just firing away at this keep. That keep is not doing enough to just stay alive. The villagers are pulled to try and repair it, but it's gonna cost wood, and he doesn't have a lot of it.
Sofa upgrade is now coming in, up to 20 sofas already. MSN, he's glued to 200 of 200 population, but he's about to lose that keep. The keep has now gone down. Ideally, MSN would have started taking the fight before it goes down, but does take it now in the end. Musafari gunners, still 22 of them here alive at the front line. Knights, for some reason, are stepping inside the outpost. Better safe than sorry, I guess. And now, this is the moment where the sofas are coming in from the back lines as well, trying to surround the army. The archers not doing any damage to them whatsoever. Just that additional bit of armor, making them so tanky here against them. Sassy still hasn't redeemed the guild hall. This is the moment now for him. Get that guild hall in, that guild hall gold, and just start pumping out those knights. You're now at a point where your opponent has a mixed front line. It's no longer just the donzos, it's now Sofa and donzos. With less donzos, you can now start really affording, to afford to just trade out with mass knights.
Hats off to Sassy, though. He's decapped that sacred site so many times, ensuring that this is not just a good time for MSN to get another win condition here. But Sassy now has 6,100 gold in the guild hall, and this transition into Mass Knight is going to look very, very scary for MSN. With that amount of gold in there, I don't know if he's maybe forgotten about it.
You'd never forget about the guild hall.
Okay.
That thing has never been forgotten in the history of Age of Empires, right? Like, imagine if SAS actually forgets Guildhall now. Like, we've been past the memes at this point with the Guildhall, surely. And now SAS wants to, like, oh no, the bombards! Are they going to be able to get back in time? At least one is going to go down for sure. Keeps the majority of them alive, though.
At this point, usually a few villages falling feels like a natural transition here, but that's a huge amount of sofas. And like you said, they're faster. They don't want to take a one-on-one fight, but they're going to chase down your knights that are in a little bit of a compromising position here.
More upgrades also coming in for SAS now behind this. So we are also getting an arbalestry upgrade here. Definitely makes sense now that the sofa have been revealed. You do need arbalestry in order to effectively counter them. Archers just aren't going to cut it. And having additional attack speed on them definitely will give you a lot of value here in these fights up against them.
Now, it does look like the army of MSN has stabilized in a way. He's able to remake what he needs to. Setting up that trade as well now. But Sassy, he's got eyes on this. And he also shut most of this down. So Sassy looking pretty good here. Pretty good in terms of control on that side of the map.
Could be worse.
Not in the whole map. Yes. So as far as this game goes, I feel like this is probably the most decent position that Sassy has been in a while. So...
7,300 gold now.
Oh, Crackety didn't forget about it. Don't worry. He knows
Yeah,
about it.
I know that he hasn't forgotten about it just because
Mm,
like he hasn't felt the need yet to go for it. He's got
mm,
24 horsemen in the queue. At the moment,
mm.
he just wants to like start doing some economy damage, and if he loses like all of his raiding force and Amazon really starts to go on the aggressive, that's when he's gonna redeem it. And it's kind of
Yeah.
insane though how much gold has accrued here so far. So even without trade, like SAS is fine. And that's the move that we've been waiting for. The cattle.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, SAS is getting in and he's taking all of the cattle down. And this is so important, Whammon. It is so expensive at this stage in the game to invest gold into remaking these cattle. He's not killing them, though. Now he is.
No,
He should be.
some of
He
them
has to.
are. Yeah, there we go. He right clicks a few of them. Now, the problem is, has been very expensive. Now, Sassy D does have the resources to remake this, and he's going for orbs instead. And the question is just, is orbs going to be enough of an answer against these sofas? These knights get a full surround, and they are going to get destroyed. Now, Sassy wants to remake units, but there's a little bit of a timing here for MSN to actually land some pretty solid damage. But Sassy says, I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm going to keep raiding and I'm going to keep you busy. So your sofas are not going to have a good day coming across the map. But MSN looks like he's got a one-dimensional comp in plan here for us. With every bit of gold he gets, he just makes more sofas.
We're getting a Baldekin in now as well from SAS. At the same time, at the front side, there's still mass archers and arbaletier here. SAS just falling back to the keep is going to be getting that additional arrow fire support in. Got a little front line there of outposts. We're getting to the point, though, where SAS is kind of running out of wood access inside of his base.
And that's usually where this map gets very scary, because right now he's been very dependent on these archers, and now that bombard almost paid the price, but the sofas here at the front, they're quickly ready to take some of the fire from these archer arrows, and they are doing a great job at it. The bombard now is going to have an awful time at survival, as he is actually a cannon. But now the sofas getting on top of these archers just means that he is going to be able to clean this up. Between the keeps, he doesn't care.
He redeemed
sofa
it.
transition.
He just redeemed it, and immediately we see 44 knights and 15 hand cannoneers in queue.
He realized maybe it's transition time. And with all of those, the thing is, the problem is, if he doesn't have enough production buildings, these guys are just going to get picked off one by one.
Exactly. I don't think that might be the case here. Emerson, he's just completely overwhelming him. And food is the one thing that SAS doesn't have that much of. He is diving multiple TCs. There isn't boiling oil, though. He's just started the research on boiling oil now. 50 minutes into the game.
And boiling oil can make this so much harder, as the hand cannoneers are just standing under their target, firing anything and everything. Sofas doing insane work here at the back. We see a lot of dead villagers all around. But this keep, it's going to stay alive for at least a while. But the units around it, they are all going down. Now, with all the production buildings being centered around this keep, this position was so important from MSN, and he held it down for so long. We see the reinforcements being donzos, and 2 rams.
It looks like the Musafati gunner count is going down, though. All Musafati gunners have been taken out. SAS still has 4,000 gold in the bank. He lost a lot of villagers, though, and the idle time is kind of brutal as well. But this is the moment where the damage kind of comes in from the cattle being taken down, right? Like MSN, he just reinvested into all of the cattle. He has them back up again. An issue is, though, that because of the position where the cattle have been killed, some of those cattle ranches are now in, like, awkward spots, and I'm not actually sure if they're in range of the Grand Fulani Corral.
Sassy is not ready to give up, Gregory. This is pretty wild to me.
He's at 500 food per minute, but he's getting back up there. The villagers finally are able to start working again. He put a second TC up. He's going to start rebooming into the villagers. Guildhall already back on 400 gold.
But this is going to need some time, and I don't know if Sassy has time. He does, technically. Because, of course, if you look at the army, MSN is also not able to replenish this. The cattle, 1.9k food per minute, that's great. And this is going to start mattering. Oh, look at that bombard tower. How sneaky. But My big question is Sassy going to be able to amass what he needs here? What is the guild hall's value in resources per minute? Do you know?
It goes to 500 gold, 500 resources per minute, with less for stone.
Okay, okay. That's pretty decent, all things considered. Malians a little bit better with their pit mines ticking, and the thing is, Sassy does have those relics, so he does have that bit of a boost too, and now these knights. The army value is pretty scary. MSN
And
needs to make
another
more
TC.
Donzos. Oh, he wants to make villages for days. He's getting back. Crackety, he wants this to go on for longer.
He needs to. MSN is trading at this point, but actually, never mind, he's not trading. There was one bombard outpost that somehow completely convinced MSN from trading.
Not able to go and kill that just yet, but guys, I just want to point out, this is the second game between the two, and this has been some of the longest games we've seen here. It feels like Sassy, he has stamina. We have to keep in mind, Sassy has been in the tournament scene for a while, and he's played these long games. MSN, he's usually the cheeky man who makes sure that he ends you pretty quickly or in a very strange fashion. But this could be wearing him thin.
SAS, he's back to 2,500 food per minute, so finally able to start spending all of his gold that he has banked up. So forget, he's still just getting these huge discounts on his units. MSN now also throwing in some Musafadi warriors. He's trying everything at this point. Like, he hasn't been able to beat him with the gunners. He hasn't been able to beat him with the gunners and Donzos and so far. So it just hasn't really worked for him. The one thing that he hasn't really tried so far was siege as well. And I feel like that's the issue where he kind of went at it in the wrong direction. Like, the archers have just been keeping him back for such a long time. If it was just 2-3 mangonels in there as well, the archers would have been a non-issue.
Now, with those rams taking care of where the market was, ooh, the knights trying to get a little bit more damage there on the cows. Oh, but the food income per minute here, Crackety, he's back, and he's coming back swinging. Now, honestly, those trade posts are going to be so significant here, because as we can see, Crackety, oh, Sassy, Crackety, I'm putting you in the game as well. Sassy has no way of getting to that level of trade. Just like MSN has both sides. He gets to put this down. He gets to take full control of this. And once Sassy gives him that...
At the bottom side, though. Not the top side anymore. I think MSN has given up on the idea of trading top side. He's now getting a huge stone wall up. And he's going to trade around the bottom side.
Now these guys, they're just not believing in the way of the mangoes. I'm actually so surprised about this, but now with the horses, makes sense. But we still need to be careful here, because if you have a big chunk of hand cannoneers that die to that when you are on 500 gold per minute, it does get pretty tough. Now the horses, they do try to look for a connection here. Donzo's coming through, they get a few of the, I guess some of the horses in place right on top of these spears. But at the same time, the hand cannoneers are doing work. He has to be careful. The archers here from MSN, they are able to do quite a bit of work towards the hand cannons themselves. If we see only 8 standing. But I don't think those have poison arrows, do they?
The archers do have poison arrows on them.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was
It'd
just
be weird
blind,
if they,
I guess.
yeah, there's
Yes.
a little purple hue to them.
There we go. Thank you, production. Giving us all the information. Very nice. Now, with MSN's army count, we can just see he's... Oh, that ram. That ram's looking for vengeance. But we can see with MSN's army count, he's just able to remax this. And Sassy, he's got the resources for it now too. We have 2.1k gold in the guild hall. And guys, are we going to get yet another guild hall pull at 6k gold?
Maybe. The Photo Huntress isn't getting repaired.
I don't know. That one has had a long life. He's done now. Now, Emerson is going a little bit into... Ooh, are we really just letting him go? Poor guy.
Oh, takes the Pitman down as well. That's minus 100 gold per minute for MSN.
And Sassy's still getting that gold in the big pit mine. Can't believe there's still gold in this map after 54 minutes. But the archers doing some sneaky shots here at the front lines. The knights are not ready to charge on them as the Donzos are going to peel right through. Another engagement coming, and yet again, just an even trade out. But now we have to keep in mind, the landmark is down. There's no more invisibility here for the units. This is now Sassy with full vision, and he needs to be careful though, because these units are plentiful, and Sofas are about to replace them. So yes, he can take this down, but the reinforcements are going to be even scarier.
33 sofas in the queue here for MSN, so he's also getting a good amount of them. We're seeing another stone wall coming up. That's a crucial one as well, further denying any potential trade avenues here for SAS. And once MSN can finally really start getting his trade up, he can once again remass into the Musafadi Gunners, which I think so far has worked the best for him in the engagements.
And we do see the archers standing a little bit too far away from those Donzos, but he needs to find a way to get closer to those cannons. Those cannons are just wrecking a little bit of havoc here, because this is just forcing him to constantly respond. He can't just let those guys keep attacking. The knights getting on top, doing a decent amount of damage. The archers now in a little bit of a pickle here, but the Donzos are ready to push through. And again, the Sofas have arrived, guys. And these guys are slowly going to be able to fire away at these archers. Now, the bombard or the cannon going to be in a little bit of danger, but he does pull back just in time. MSN not overcommitting to this, but he needs to commit into that trade pretty soon, and he still doesn't have those markets down.
Reinforcements coming in. SAS once again start reinvesting into the archers here now instead of the arbaletier. We're seeing another Reboldican coming in. It's always so funny once that comes in. At this point in the game, it doesn't really achieve a lot with this many archers out. They can just instantly snipe it out. It's a pretty hefty gold investment. Speaking of gold, SAS almost up to 4,000 gold in the guild hall yet again. So without any trade at all, SAS still somehow manages to get out an impressive amount of gold units. We did manage to get out to the 8k gold vein there at the bottom, so he's able to get some income in. He also captured up one of the sacred sites here.
Now, MSN is definitely not looking like he's comfortable with this stage of the game. I feel like Sassy has played this state very, very often. We've seen long games from Sassy. We've memed Sassy before. But MSN, it looks like this one it's getting to him. He's trying to do a little bit of a flank, making sure that that army is all grouped up. But he needs to have a perfect fight here, because Sassy is able to replace this army.
Yeah, just because I saw the question in chat where you can see how many traders MSN has, he doesn't have any. He set himself up map-wise and wall-wise nicely for trade. He hasn't gone for it yet, and I wish he did, because Musafadi Gunners at this point, late game, are kind of crucial to him. Sure, the archers have poison arrows, but the gunners just kind of deal with everything, and you get such a big increase on resources with the toll outposts on gold. It would be amazing here to have that now, but fight is getting taken, and every time SAS just falls back to the keep, the archers doing a great job up against the Donzos here, and MSN is going to have to fall back. At least he's able to fall back quite quickly here, thanks to the bonus movement speed that the Sofas do provide. And yeah, I mean, in the end, it's just a back and forth at the moment between both of them, and just meat grinder after meat grinder after meat grinder without any consequential fights being taken quite yet.
And the problem is, these fights feel consequential when you look at the amount of casualties both ways. I think this one may have been a little bit consequential for MSN. Sassy has killed a lot of units that MSN just can't seem to replace. So now he's trying to do a little bit of damage here, but those TCs are kind of reinforced. So they are going to be able to fire back. Ooh, and we see a few Rebaldiquins, a few Randys joining the fight here. This is going to be quite nice, usually, if they survive up until that point. But with these archers, they should be able to get picked off pretty quickly. Now, the tower does go up, but it should fall down as quickly. And yet another bombard in danger, but the Donzos are just not able to reach all the way through. It does look like MSN wants to go quite a bit deeper here. But at the same time, he just cannot keep fighting under these keeps, because if he does, he's just going to keep losing this army. And you can see he's spending every bit of resource he has. He's tired. He wants this to end, Chief. But it just doesn't look like this is enough firepower for him to fight into the keep, into this control. He needs to be careful.
Just
Still no
never really
trade.
feels that efficient enough. We're now up to 3 bombards, so SAS going to be able to start taking down these walls pronto. Still no trade at this point. Msn seems comfortable enough on a single relic with just the pit mines and the Manza Quarry when it comes to his gold income. Actually, he's had his Manza Quarry on stone for a while, not on gold. Not sure if that's something that he might want to switch up. He's got a good amount of stone in the bank.
Yeah, trying to find a use for all that stone and it not being trade securing.
I can't believe that we're now seeing mangonels again, but it's not from MSN.
Yeah, Msn definitely had a few openings there where it looked like a few mangonels could have ended the game. But both of these players had their opening here. I feel like Msn had a lot more chances so far. But Sassy, he's holding on for dear life. And that holding on is looking like it's paying off perfectly. The Sofa's now trying to get a few raids here. But these villages are just going to get replaced. There's a ton of TCs here at the back. I think he's on 4 TC now. And this is just going to mean you can kill the vills. But he's just going to remake them. So that army value of Sassy is going to just... It's going to be available yet again. The moment that MSN loses this next engagement, or wins, it doesn't matter which way it goes, Sassy can remake them. And he's going to remake quality units. We see 400 food in the bank here from MSN.
The siege is a little bit out of position. SAS, the siege? Okay, he noticed, he pulls back. The siege was just right next to all of the infantry there from MSN, could have gotten picked off.
Now, this is a face-off of destiny. These Donzos just not able to snipe out anything or anyone as they need as these knights are coming in closer. We do see them taking a pretty head-on fight here. A few knights pay the price, but again, Sassy has 5 more knights in queue. He's not worried. 6,000 gold in the guild hall. He is chilling like a villain. With 2,000 stone, though, MSN, he needs to try and secure something. That's so much stone, Crackety. He needs to find a reason for it. It looks like there are markets placed, at least. So at the top side...
trade should be happening at some point, right? Yeah.
Oh!
He's just... Okay, he's just putting them up. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. If we get back to like 30, 40 Musafati gunners, there's hope.
The problem is, what about those mangonels? We've seen what mangonels can do to the gunneers. The gunneers. Now, Sassy, with the horsemen he's got, 40 in queue, he's going to be able to respond to most of what MSN is making. That's a lot of horses to have backups of. And again, 7,200 gold in the bank. That is a pretty healthy amount to remake into a bunch of knights the moment this ends. Now, 1 hour in, we're finally seeing yet another engagement. Keep is firing straight at the mangonel. He knows what can lose him the game. The boys are fighting. The javelin throwers... Oh, javelin throwers. That looked like javelin. The Donzos are doing their best at just getting a good shot off. The mangonels are going to... wreak havoc on this back line, and it looks like this around here from Sassy is going to be pretty good. The problem is there's not enough Donzos here in this army to defend against all these horses, and it does look like Sassy might be able to take this after all, for now at least.
There's still so many production buildings here, so MSN is able to steadily reinforce SAS. He doesn't have that many production buildings, I think, but maybe now he's able to pull through. The additional siege here now, it makes a big difference because MSN is just blobbing infantry. And so the Mangonel is actually getting some great value, and Archer's also getting microed up against the gunners here. Still more and more Donzos flooding in, more Archers. MSN still has a solid amount of military. Both players just like continuously reinvesting. And Sassy's better. Okay, he pulled the plug. 8,000 gold just came back in. We see another 20 knights, another 20 hand cannoneers in queue now. It looks like MSN is able to push him back again.
And
it's
we're just getting...
we're
getting a repeat, Crackety. They're cleaning the siege. And now they're cleaning the units. But he pulls back. This time he's not fighting into the keep. He realizes this didn't go well last time. Maybe we try it differently this time. As the knights pour in. Oh, God. Oh, do we have a trader yet? Is there any trader? I don't know about this overlay. I have no idea.
There isn't. They're in queue,
Oh.
but they're not out yet.
Ooh, 60
You see them
trade.
next to the. You're gonna see them next to the villager population at the top center side.
And we have no population space for traders, but they will be soon, as some of this army will go down. MSN queuing up every bit of resource he can. And yes, we have literally casted this fight 684 times this game. And I hope you guys enjoy it, because there's going to be yet another one. But this one has reinforcements coming in. Randy's also added to the list of reinforcements. The sofas standing there at the back line, ready for commitment. And the landmark still very dead.
Another fight about to be taken. This time SAS has rebuilt his entire army. This time, though, with high-value premium units. 40 knights on the field, 20 more in queue. MSN is just not in a position to remass on the on just about any aspect at the moment. His bank just isn't that full, and a fight looks to be getting taken here yet again. But this isn't looking nearly as healthy as it was last time around.
This is now the prime army that Sassy has been hoping for. MSN felt like he won the last fight, but he didn't realize he was just opening himself up to a Sassy special. The Sassy special being the prime unit blaster, which is exactly raining down now upon his head as MSN is just trying to take this fight, but the siege is doing work. The archers are doing what they can. We can see them moving a lot closer as their target fired, but everything is getting cleaned up. The reinforcements, luckily, at the front here. Problem is just there's so many knights, and there's more in queue. 51 knights total is not something this poor Malians with 34 Donzos is going to be able to do.
This time it should be enough knights here, enough to finally finish out this game. For SAS, he's taking down all of the infrastructure, all of the production buildings, and MSN, he doesn't have a great wood bank. He can't easily reinvest into these production buildings. He also just kept being population locked, so he doesn't have that many traders, only 6 out at the moment. Gold just definitely is not something that he has a lot of, and it just feels like he could have set himself up much better for the late game, and now it's biting him. Because he wasn't able to do so. The Knights just completely surrounding. They're taking the fight up against the Donzos. They're just not going down. Way too much health on them. The hand cannons in the backline just completely obliterating the Donzos. The Knights diving in deeper. The backline is getting taken down as well. And GG comes in after an hour and 7 minutes. SAS with the comeback, able to even out the series.
Okay, now I know these guys played their heart out, but Crackety, I feel like I need a break after that. I can't imagine what these two guys are feeling. Because guys, this is a best of 5! Our first 2 games, they were about 6.5 hours long. I hope you enjoyed Sassy and MSN really going at each other here. And this, to me, is the prime example of almost evenly skilled players here. And I love that. I love to see how close it was, back and forth, back and forth. And Sassy really knowing where to hit and when to hit. That seniority showing his head.
Yeah, this is, they were very evenly matched here in this one. Courtesy to them. I think it's just a little bit about, like, game knowledge here in the end that did prevail for SAS. He knew his win condition as the game kept going longer and longer and longer. Having that guild hall, it really does provide you with a second life, even in the later stage of the game. And yeah, SAS able to even out the set now means that he still has some prevalence in the set. And next up, we're going to be moving over to Frisian Marshes with Macedonians up against the Ayyubids. Okay, Macedonians on Frisian Marshes, not something that I had on my bingo card. Not exactly sure if we're going to see any massive dog plays from them here, but will be interesting to see nonetheless.
Now, seeing a little bit of Macedonians here, I think is going to scratch an itch that a lot of players maybe have had, because we haven't seen a lot of the new civilizations in these matchups, and especially against the golden oldie like Ayyubids, this feels pretty decent. Now, to just summarize how this game may affect what happens here, I feel like Sassy has done this before. Sassy has played these hours and hours and hours, and he's played them in every matchup. This is not something he's unfamiliar with. MSN at the same time, he's not the new kid on the block, but
He's got school tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. He's got school tomorrow. So MSN definitely does not have the experience in this one, but him picking Aeobits is probably one of the safest things he could have gone for. So absolutely love to see that he is going for a safe pick that we all know does really well on this map. Macedonians, we just don't have. We don't have that information on this map just yet.
Yeah, it's just one of the new civilizations, not too often picked yet in general. Yeah, it's an interesting one for sure on Frisian Marshes especially, because that is one where typically at the moment we do have the meta of players just dropping a whole lot of docks inside of the ponds, and I'm not too sure how well that's going to work out for the Macedonians, just because like they don't have any significant dock bonuses, I want to say. At least not when it comes to fishing.
I'm reading Twitch chat here, guys. That's why I'm giggling like a little goose. I want to quote here Gecko Gaming TV. But mom, it's 2-2 and I want to qualify to the 20k tourney. Quoting MSN as he needs to go to school tomorrow. This is something I absolutely love to see, that we have such young players just breaking through these top barriers. I'd actually like to take another look at the bracket. If we have an updated one, that would be amazing to see, just to see exactly where the boys are standing. Let's quickly take a quick look here. Numidan, we saw that earlier, 3-0'd. Sassy MSN should be 1-1 now, which means they're gonna go up against Numidan now, guys. I don't know if any of you lived that trauma with us, but Numidan Sassy might be on the cards here for us today. Kiljardi against Creator now. Creator taking down Myriad 3-1, and honestly, what a Chad. Taking down Myriad is... Whew, I'm impressed, Creator.
Yeah,
Mr.
Creator
Japan
is
has
coming
something
in
store.
hot here, like right away, right? Like this is one of the main rather like one of the first tournaments where we're really like wary of him, and so far, like just performance-wise, he's been playing his heart out, beating out Certain, now beating out Myriad, next up Kiljardi. So far, Creator has definitely gotten a good bunch of upsets in a single tournament run here so far. Valdemar leading up against Miyamaika. Scatterbrain vs Skull Devil, that is just beginning at the moment. But yeah, just looking at the bracket and what's awaiting us, a potential SAS versus Numidan set. Well, man, I feel like this the second qualifier today might go until like 2 a.m. or something like that.
I definitely see us following that bottom side of the bracket, as we want to see Valdemar taking his revenge and getting through all these rounds. And especially going up against someone like Scatterbrained or Scarlet Devil, if he passes through Mr. Miyamaika, who is an absolute force to reckon with. That is something I think a lot of people are excited to see too. But, ladies and gents, it's time for our game almost. And just taking a quick look at these drafts, I want to point out that MSN still has China and Zushi for both the last two maps. So pretty big picks, either for him or to take away from your opponent. So let's hop on in and see what Frisian Marshes has in store for us and how the Macedonians are supposed to be played here. Ladies and gents, it's time for Frisian Marshes. I'm so ready. Oh my gosh, Crackety. And he's going for wood. That makes sense. If we go for docks, yes. But MSN is not.
Okay, that's going to be an interesting one. So he's also going back rather early with his scout. Where's he trying to get sheep from? Okay, that's an interesting scout pattern there. He's getting the sheep in the top side there. There were a bunch there, but most of them are still going to be out on the map, and walking all the way back, that's going to cost you a bunch.
Now, not getting that sheep is definitely going to add up, but that feels quite intentional at the same time. Now, MSN, he's very comfortable in Aeobits. We've seen those deadly raids. Oh my goodness. Was it No, it was Dragovan. I remember MSN also doing that archer shenanigan we used to see from Abbasid. Now, Aeobits, they don't have any crazy plays like that, but we do have a little bit of a crazy play here by Sassy. We have our first production building out, and it is producing already. And that's probably what MSN was banking on. So, already up against a few spearmen, so Atgermajir. And they are going to be annoying to handle, but MSN... I just got called out for how I pronounce them. Give me a second. Atgermajir. Is it not like that? No, I'm getting argued with here in the back lines. We are getting like Twitch status. Okay, what did you say?
That's the I know that because that's a voice line from the Age of Empires 2 villagers when you play as Vikings.
But it's a J. It's a Cyrillic J. Is it not?
You mother.
It's an Icelandic thr. Yeah, the Macedonians are very well known for being in Iceland.
Okay, this might actually be the one unit name that I can pronounce just because that's something that the Viking villagers say in Age of Empires 2.
Say it for us again, Crackery.
Atgumather.
Agirmajir. Okay, that actually sounds...
Come on! I'm not sure how we went from Atgirmather to Atgirmajir, but...
Sorry, guys. I think the last game got us all. We got there. At least we all learned how to not pronounce it. Thanks, Gregory.
Man, I'm happy now. I'm happy now that I recognize that from the Age of Empires 2 villagers. Suddenly I can, like, actually... I called the civilization without an identity. Now it has, like, plus 1% identity for me.
Because you know how to pronounce things?
Yeah.
No, we're getting the... Actually, okay, Crackety, question time, since you're the Chad here with all the knowledge. So, some people go Hippodrome, other people go for, you know, our usual age up, the Grand Winery.
The Grand Winery, yeah.
Yes.
Hippodrome is so much better for Macedonians.
Yes. I was figuring, because there's just so much value in the free horses you get, or what else is there?
Twitch chat bite me. I'll call it Macedonians because in German that's what we pronounce them.
Like McDonald's.
I'm just thinking about Big Macs all day, Whammon. I'm on a cut at the moment. It's bad. All I can think about is McDonald's.
Okay, that makes sense. Relatable, Crackety. Now MSN going for the growth wing. He wants to get that little bit of a boost, and he's definitely going to need it when those free horses run in and start killing villagers. So it does feel pretty good to pop out a few extra vills, at least to survive the early feudal. But also 470 wood in the bank. That's about to be spent. McDonald's Dynasty. Come on, Aveling.
That's the official name now.
Oh.
The big McDonaldian Dynasty.
Guys, blame Sassy. This is on Sassy. If anyone is complaining that we lost the plot, it's Sassy's fault. Thanks.
He made us do this. Oh yeah, right. That's still the set that we're in. SAS vs MSN. Oh yeah, didn't see them there.
Now, getting to the Hippodrome here, do you get the Radari in Feudal Age already? The free one?
You do get him already in Feudal Age, but it's like 11-ish minutes in when you get him. So it's not quick, but he will come in eventually. And of course, we're gonna do the quick shout out to the one build on Reddit that is like, oh yeah, you just pump out non-stop ranking guards until you get the movement speed upgrade, or rather movement speed buff from the Ridari, and suddenly you just overrun with mass ranging guards. Double pure summer upgrade, that's pretty good.
Now, we do see that Emerson is heavily investing here into spears. I say heavy, but it's just because he is expecting all of these free units to come on out. That first scout is going to go face first into a spear, learns his lesson, pulls back, and is going to go heal up for yet another day. Now, Emerson, he does need to be careful here, because now he's investing quite a lot into getting all of these docks. And from here on out, that's a lot more space for Sassy to harass. Now, we've seen Macedonian in Feudal. They are insane once they get going, if you cannot do any damage to them. Crackety, is this something that Aeobits has an answer to?
To what specifically?
To getting Macedonian in late feudal. I say late feudal because they're the only civ that... Oh, hello. It's actually getting a kill already. Disgusting. So, Macedonian with upgrades. Because we see that very, very quickly from them.
In part, yeah, because they can go for like mass desert raiders, and that's just also pretty good. They also get the failings upgrade on the spear, so they got some really solid units in general in the feudal age. And we do actually see SAS investing into the Varangians. Interesting. So maybe we're actually getting that that Reddit build in here.
What is the Reddit build, Gravity?
It's mass Varangian gods.
Okay, and when you do get the upgrades for them, it just means they don't take a lot of damage, as we have seen several times on ladder.
You go for the double melee, or rather just the double infantry health upgrades, right? So you're getting a lot of, like, for one, 10% more health, and also 2 melee armor and 2 ranged armor. Your ranging guards are only going to take 1 damage from archers, and they're also just going to get an insane amount of movement speed from the Ridari champion as well. You can then also plonk down a runestone, so even more movement speed on the ranging guards, and they can just gap close onto any unit in the game, and oh, that's another villager going to go down.
That is pretty big at this point of the game as well, because MSN, his whole age up was just getting those few villagers and, to get ahead a little bit, but now this is already a big portion of that all gone. Now, he does have a few fishing boats to make up for this, but like you said, with those Varangian upgrades, he's going to need a lot of damage to actually do anything to them. Oh, wait, but that's that first upgrade he gets. Is that for horses? That's for horses, Crack.
That is for horses, yeah. In theory, like, all the upgrades early on are relatively cheap, and I guess he just wants to have the horses be in a position where they can, like, fight off against the archers. I still would have just preferred him going immediately into the Varangian upgrade, just because, like, he continuously is massing them. Like, that is definitely his game plan. He wants to go for the mass Varangian build. This is going to delay him a good bit on that play.
Now that's
Sassy also gets a little bit of stone. Can we check what he wants to do with that stone? Does he have like an outpost with an emplacement in space, or do you just want to like maybe get some additional silver in from that? I'm not sure. Okay, he is getting an outpost in, so maybe that was the reason for it.
Now, with the amount of horses he has, it definitely means that MSN is not going to be able to just leave his units in one spot and try to handle those Varangians. So I can definitely see the value in him investing in those, because with those horses, the more slippery they become. You can now just run a few horses into your wood line, forcing your opponent to react, and then when his attention is not all fully there, or the military is not all fully there, he needs to go and deal with the Varangians at the top. And there we go. He's getting his defensive arrow slits on his strongholds, which just means that he can make more of them and get his villagers into some pretty good spots. Fishing boat now going to be paying the price as the horses are running rampant and free, and there's nothing MSN is usually able to do about this, because with these guys coming in, the horses are just going to find a new target.
MSN behind this isn't really looking for Castle Age from the looks of it. He's just sticking it out in the Feudal Age, and that's where it's starting to get really dangerous. He's been massing up a lot of these spearmen so far. We do finally now see the first defensive upgrade coming in for the infantry for SAS, so he already has almost 10 Varangian guards. This is really dicey, really dicey now, and yeah, I think once the trap gets sprung, MSN, he's gonna really struggle. SAS still waiting for that Ridari champion to come in. Can we quickly check out the Hippodrome and see how much longer he's gonna have to wait for that to come in? It shouldn't be that much longer. If we select it, it's a buff on the Imperial Hippodrome. Just 15 more seconds, and that's when he's gonna get it. So pretty much exactly 11 minutes.
And that Ridari is going to mean spearmen will need to be around, but MSN getting some pretty good loot there. That feels
Not
good.
just that.
And
at the same time, he's also getting the information that, oh my god, there's a whole bunch of Varangian guards. And there's one thing that MSN can do that is absolutely going to screw SAS over, which is just mass Desert Raiders. 5 base melee armor. That's a pretty solid amount to have up against them. And they also attack rather quickly. They got solid melee damage. That would be the best answer to go for. Hasn't
Now,
done
it
so yet.
doesn't... Yeah, it doesn't look like he's transitioning to that at all. But he has 10 on gold now, which is telling me that he thinks the ideal response here is maybe going for castle, stop production completely, pulled off of wood, and we can see that this man is reinvesting. But the problem is now we do see another attack coming from the top there on Sassy's villagers. But he's got the units in position, and the horses will need to flee back with all those Varangians chasing them. Now, those Varangians chasing him is actually so key here, because you're forcing your opponent to respond at the back of his base, which means those Varangians are not coming straight for your face. And MSN, he wants to click up, and he wants to do it soon.
Yeah, he is
Lots of
moving
horses.
towards it. The resources are accruing steadily for him now. He's cut production completely. Still has to react to these cavalry units going for the docks, and is going to be able to ignite the dock as well. So unless there's a villager pulled, that dock is going to go down. MSN, he's got so much more economy units here behind it, even though SAS killed more overall. That's just courtesy of all of these fishing investments. Now the advancement wing even going to be coming in. I don't think that was necessary. I think he could have also just gone for logistics or literally anything else. But he's going for that one.
He recognizes that this is a ticking time bomb. And yes, it doesn't make sense to us because we have God vision and we're like, oh, you didn't need to react that way. But from his perspective, he saw a ton of Varangians. Oh, and getting a pretty solid connection here onto 2 of those horsemen as well.
SAS, though, he's very late with his aggression. He's got 16 Varangians now. He doesn't have the information yet that MSN is actually, like, aging up here behind this. That's very dangerous now for him.
Well, pretty good
SAS
surround
still not
here.
moving forward.
Yeah, Sassy is a little bit too far away from his opponent's base. And I wouldn't say this is just...
He's gonna see it now.
I wouldn't say this is just a mistake from him. This could just be MSN forcing these mistakes out of him. Because MSN has been very active with these horses. MSN has forced him to respond to this over and over again. And it's given him this time. And I think that's something that needs to be said about MSN's gameplay and him not just being idle about this. It's like he knew exactly how to handle this. And Sassy took the bait.
The fight is now getting taken. SAS is pushing in to the base of MSN. MSN, he can just continue falling back. Just gonna put the villagers inside the outpost. Maybe run away a little bit with them as well. Villagers safely inside the outpost here for SAS as well. All the engagement is coming in. Villagers already went out, but MSN, he's got so much gold in. He can immediately upgrade archers, get the pierce damage upgrade in, which is only tier 1, unfortunately, for him. But also a couple of camel lancers.
Those camel lancers could make a pretty big difference, especially when you are trying to deal with those horses. But the horsemen taking the front lines now a little bit too early here, as we don't even have our upgrades. But he's just trying to delay it as the villagers are inside the DC, just trying to fire at something while these upgrades are coming in. The camel lancers now finally popping out one by one, and it looks like now is the time to engage. Archers don't have their upgrade yet, but the camel lancers should
Runestone
be able
comes
to
in.
do pretty solid amount of damage.
Radari champion already taken down, so no additional movement speed on these Varangian guards now. And the army count, it's just evaporating here for SAS. Not that many units remaining.
And MSN doing an amazing job at pushing this back. He may have lost a little bit of time there on the villagers just popping into the tower and fighting from the TC, but that was not too bad after all, with cleaning up everything else. And Sassy, he just doesn't look like he has any answer, follow-up answer to what this is. Because he has no way to get to castle right now without getting overwhelmed by all these units from Aeobids. Because now there are camel lancers, and they hit a little bit harder than the horsemen.
Just like that, all the military now gone for SAS. He did remass some of the Atgemather here, but it's just not going to be enough now that the archers are there as well. It just doesn't have an answer to the military that MSN has.
The units are a little bit low. They do run forward, stuttering their way through towards the gold, as they want to just land on a village or two, but he does see where all the units are. He sees all the spearmen standing in position that I'm not going to pronounce the name of. The archers are ready to fire at them.
SAS also lost 5 villagers due to TC idle time.
Your focus on just getting those attacks to land properly. The horsemen getting on top of these archers, but the spearmen making their way through and actually able to do a pretty good job at picking off a few more of them. Now Sassy on limited food at the moment, as we know he's on that deer on the outside. He's fishing,
Oh, no.
but this fishing does not feel that good when your villagers need to run all this way out to try and get them. Opens them up to a lot of
Indeed,
raiding.
it does not.
Now, slowly starting to get the relics as well, and that is going to make sure that MSN does not mind staying in castle for a little bit longer. Sassy seems to be set on going into feudal age fighting, as he's still just making units. I say that, but we have 27 on food, and I don't know if this is just because he's desperately trying to make stuff, or if he is trying to age up. But an age up does feel like a pretty good answer. The problem is just, if he ages up, what then? He can get himself a defensive landmark. He'll be able to at least secure a side part of the map. But after that, things get a little bit hairy, because Aeobids can just run right around and go attack somewhere else.
Yeah, most definitely can. And at this point, it's so difficult now for SAS to come back. He's trying, he's getting archers in, he's getting additional upgrades in. Sure, he can get like some upgrades a lot earlier than other civilizations. So he's getting the +2. He already got the +2 pierce armor in for his cavalry now. The archer is quite strong when it comes to armor units as well, because they're able to ignore 2 of the armor in that regard. And it still just feels kind of hopeless. He's not giving up, though. He is most definitely not giving up, as we kind of like expect from SAS. It's kind of setting the theme for it. More TC idle time now, now up to 2 minutes of TC idle time. It's just losing villagers for no reason at this point. It's hurting his economy a lot, and sure, he might be getting like an additional unit out, but long term, there's just no real comeback, as MSN is actually just taking his time, not taking the bait for like any early engagements, building up his technology advantage. And getting relics in behind this. Already 3 relics picked up so far for him.
He's still investing into these horsemen, but against those camel lancers, this is going to be so tough. We do see him getting a pretty good charge off there, and a scout pays the price by going just a smidge too far forward. But Sassy, he was thinking about castle and just queued up 4 more horsemen. He realizes, I need to keep producing, otherwise I'm cooked. His units are a little bit of those pseudo-castle variety, because they do have the +2 upgrades for some of them. But it does look like they are quickly getting cleaned up with all these camel lancers just working their way through. And MSN, making this a significantly shorter game than the previous, closes it out in under 20 minutes here. Beautiful performance by him. He knew exactly how to react. He knew how to force these mistakes out of Sassy. And I love to see this out of MSN. Really good showing of him.
Yeah, GG came in, and just like that, MSN now 2-1 up here in the series, and it's a best of 5, so that means that MSN is now effectively on match point. SAS, he cannot give another inch. If he loses one more game, and that means that he is out of the qualifiers and no longer has a chance at qualifying for the EGC Masters Final.
And Sassy definitely was a name that pops up that people are like, oh, he could qualify. But MSN at the same time, he's qualified himself into a few tournaments himself as well. So this feels like a battle between these two. But again, there's, of course, more matches after that. So both of these guys, big names to compete against one another. And we'll see what the next one holds. I'm really excited to see if this is going to be a Zushi or a China pick. And what map Sassy is willing to take those guys on. Because now MSN has some pretty big picks in his pocket for the final game.
Yeah, I mean, both players still have some big picks, but yeah, MSN definitely, like, still having China, still having Shushi. Some very strong civilizations still available here to him, and I'm gonna have to see exactly which one he opts to choose here in this one. Got the highlight reel here. Next map is gonna be Gorge, from the looks of it, so definitely a lot of options here for MSN to choose his civilizations, but I think China would probably be one of the best ones to close it out with, and it is going to be China. It's a classic matchup, Whammon. We're seeing HRE coming up against the Chinese here on Gorge.
And that feels pretty spicy. I feel like HRE hasn't seen the light of day in a while. So finally seeing a little bit of HRE on the field is going to feel pretty good, because they've been touched by nerfs before, and they just weren't as prominent after that. But on Gorge, I'm excited to see if they can take down China, because China's a civilization that they really need to be punished for them not to go completely out of control, but so is HRE. So I think both of these are pretty big powerhouses, and I'm a little bit worried either way which way this could go, because HRE just swings out of control so quickly. But China, depending if they go pro scouts or not, they are just going to have a field day with all that food in the making. Now, we've been seeing a lot of mind work coming out of HRE as well. And in what cases do you think people would go mind work over arcane? Is it spawn dependent? Is it matchup dependent?
It is kind of like player dependent, I want to say. So my personal opinion is that mind work is just the best go-to in any situation, mainly for the reason that the Archon has been nerfed time and time again, baseline, and you want to produce scholars, or prelates rather, manually anyways in the current meta. Like, even if it is some TC idle time, it's still gonna be worth it. And just getting the cheaper upgrades in, being able to run out on the map with your prelates a lot earlier when you get that castle age transition in, it's just so worthwhile. It's so worthwhile. You're getting also like a mini Archon anyways, like even if you don't go for Archon with the upgrade on the monasteries that you get. That way, I just kind of fail to see the reason most of the time of going for Archon. Like, sometimes they get like these giga OP spawns where you can have like all the resources in the range of the first Archon, right? Like, that's where it's like, okay, I can see the greed aspect of it. But long term, you just want to produce prelates anyways, because it's just so important to continue having that inspiration aura on those villagers, even if you like move past the influence of the Archon Chapel.
I like the mechanics they brought into the HRE late game anyway. And especially when you're up against something like China. I know a lot of people might say, yeah, HRE didn't need late game buffs. True. But they're pretty cool, especially when you think about the fact that you have mini arcanes you can put anywhere and everywhere you want to go. And this just allows for a little bit more of a survivability against something like Chinese late game. Because Chinese late game has been horrendous. I know people always meme about China late game. Oh, it's past 40 minutes. China wins. So, yeah, we're going to need to see Sassy being very aggressive here. And Sassy is not necessarily someone I would have picked for HRE. If I'm thinking Sassy, HRE doesn't come to mind. I'm just disappointed we didn't see Duck Luck. Just want to point that out. Or House of Lancaster.
Tough
Come on,
luck,
guys.
yeah. They didn't make it into this one yet. I honestly expected to see them in Frisian Marshes. That didn't happen, though. Might have also just been a little bit of a mind games type situation there.
Especially because you have a few extras.
Yeah, I do actually see SAS a lot with the HRE. Like, it's one of the civilizations that he's played a lot in the past as well, so it makes perfect sense here for him to go for it. He still considers them relatively strong, I believe. I would have rather seen him go for Japan, to be fair, on Gorge. But HRE definitely no slouch, and maybe he can get a good enough timing in, to do a lot of damage here to the Chinese before they reach Castle Age. Like, HRE is one of the few civilizations that can kind of like match Chinese production, courtesy of all their bonus economy that they have. So it's like one of these situations where I can definitely see the HRE go for a timing approach here, try and deny the fast castle playstyle, and try and keep the Chinese players honest in the feudal age.
Keep the Chinese players honest in the feudal age. Ooh.
Yeah, like keep them honest, as in like not just try and hide and try and go for the fast castle age.
Okay. I like that. I like saying honest. In terms of strategies, would that mean Tuklak players, we need to keep them honest as well by just killing all the healer elephants before they amass 5 and destroy us?
Keeping them honest, maybe, in the sense of not having them amass like 20 of the raider elephants and just trampling the entire army to death.
Oh, disgusting. Guys, sorry for Crackety causing this much trauma, because I know that everyone here has probably lived through this on ladder. Now, I am going to say, I really want to see if we're getting pro scouts here from China. Because, again, this has been a question mark from a lot of people. Are pro scouts still going to be the go-to? Especially when you're playing against HRE, which is a civ that also sometimes goes for a little bit of pro scouting. And China, we've seen it now, they still like to do that, but HRE is pretty good at punishing that. They have a pretty good economy in the early game to actually go out and stop you from doing anything. So, I don't know. I think Pro Scouts might play a big part in here, especially as the food runs out here towards minute 8, 9. I think in this matchup specifically, it's the same when you're playing Malians, and this is something I noticed when we went on Dry Arabia as well, between French and Malians. Your big indicator in the early game of who makes it out of that that early game momentum is usually the sheep count, but that was offset by the fact that he went pro scouts. Is this something that also happens with Sassy's HRE? Is this something that will carry China through? Because when the food runs out, your power runs out. Your ability to suppress, your ability to harass, the ability to force mistakes out of your opponent. And that's exactly what we saw in the previous game from MSN. We saw that he knew exactly where to attack the food. Sassy tried to do the same by attacking the fishing boats. But MSN was just so much more active on the map with the horsemen in doing so. So the food here is the key factor, and I would not be surprised to see a little bit of pro scouting because it has been so prominent in these last few games. Ramble about food.
Pro Scout could also be coming in for the HRE, but honestly, I would much rather prefer a playstyle around the mine work and just moving out with the prelate and villagers onto the deer. We're gonna have to wait and see exactly what's gonna be coming in. It's just my personal preference, but yeah, Archon into pro scouting could definitely be an option here. But enough of that. We're jumping right into the match point here, or rather one of the potential match points here of the set between SAS and MSN. We got SAS in the color yellow playing as the Holy Rome Empire. Dark Age Barracks already coming in here for him, and MSN in the color red playing as the Chinese here on Gorge. So Pro Scout definitely on the menu here for the Chinese. The HRE, they've got some options.
Now, Sassy's first option is going for that good old spearman in the early game, and I like this. I like this because it stops China from having as many options as you do. When you get the spearman out as the HRE, you're just like any civilization, you force your opponent to respond, and it might not be as optimally as they would like. He does see the spearman here, so it will mean that he'll pull quite a few more villagers to try and get the gold that he needs, and that's exactly what happens here. So with this, you're not allowing the Chinese player to get all the gold they need to go for something like pro scouts in the scenario. You're forcing them to respond by making units and not allowing them to just be the greedy goose and keep them honest.
Little game pause coming in here at the moment.
Wild.
Yeah, the question is what's going on exactly. Maybe players just fixing a hotkey. Maybe a little bathroom break. Could also be the case.
Well, I mean, after those games, I can imagine they need one, or two, or three. While this is going on, guys, while this is paused, I just want to point out Kiljardi and Creator are currently in their match, as both of them advanced, so this should be pretty good. 34 minutes since their round has started. And on the other side, Valdemar took down Miomaika 3-0.
3-0.
So that's a pretty big one, though, because Miomaika is not, he's not an easy opponent. Not at all. Not a 3-0 opponent. Numadan, I think, also has concluded. No, Numadan, oh, yes, he's against Happy Cat. Now we're just waiting for this match. Yeah. All right. And so we'll see those in a moment as well. But it looks like we're back looking at our beautiful HRE screen here. But I would like to take a second to look at the spawn while we're waiting for the game to resume. So we can see that there's a nice little forward gold here and a nice little forward stone. And back in my day when I was gold, I would put the Arcane Chapel right between all of those because that looks juicy. But it definitely now looks to me, after what you've described, like a good minework position. a really good answer to get a Mindwork Palace, because you don't have a situation where your Arcane Chapel is juicy enough.
Yeah, I mean, this is just overall already like an interesting opener. It does appear like the pause is because of a question in regards to the range, or rather distance, between MS and his gold vein. But it looks like the game is going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
MSN's
Now,
gold is rather far away from the TC, but it looks like SAS's gold is also pretty far away from the TC as well.
yeah, that is an unfortunate amount of space between your gold and the TC, but
Oh,
luckily...
MSN, he just pulled 6 villagers to gold as a reaction to the Dark Age Spearman Rush.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
He
this
needs
is
at
good.
least a little bit of additional gold for to be able to afford an Imperial official as soon as he hits Feudal Age.
Mm-hmm, and that's exactly what he gets. How much do they cost?
32 with the
Okay.
discount.
Okay. Yeah, no, so this man definitely has more than enough to go around. And with that mining camp, you of course don't want to be losing that, because you have gathered tax onto it. But with this early in the game, it's definitely not the end of the world, especially if your opponent has invested 2 spearmen into this already. Now, we are catching up to the live one, as the game was paused for just a little bit while they were looking at the gold spawns. And now Sassy is going to be burning down that mining camp, but other spearman is looking for damage elsewhere. Trying to get a fast age up too.
Yeah, we do, of course, get like the 5 villagers on the HRE on the gold. It does mean that the required gold is going to be coming in very quickly, and you do need to pull that many villagers as the HRE just because you start without any gold, courtesy of that early prowler that you get. And SAS even laming the deer here a little bit, getting them killed. That means that MSN isn't going to be able to collect them through the Fog of War in order to bring them back with his scouts. Instead, he's going to actually have to have vision on them in order to be able to click them.
Now, Sassy is finally going to reveal his choice, and his choice is the Arcane Chapel. He says
That's
it may
a
not
sad
be
outcome, though.
Yeah, it is. I was going to say, this is not the juicy spawn you want, but at least there's a woodline, Crackety. At least there's a woodline.
That's the bare minimum, Whammy.
And we're making the best of it here. But also, now MSN, he's going to be able to get that Imperial official. That feels great. But right now, he doesn't get to make those choices we talked about earlier. He has to ensure that he just gets the gold he needs for his basic upgrades. Is he going for eco? We'll see. But at the same time, you also want to get more Imperial officials, and you want to be making a move towards regaining control of your gold camp. And with all those villagers on wood, that's exactly what he's looking to do. Archery range coming out. Pretty standard response here, as we are fighting against this man, the HRE, with all them spears. Now, of course, getting that mill out here is telling me we are getting professional scouts from Sassy, with him already amassing quite a bit of gold here. And he's got the wood in the bank to do so. He's just waiting to get that age up to be able to click this up. The mill in that position also being a pretty good spot for all the farms to drop off at. But it does feel like a decent timing here, as he's very quickly going to be able to drop a stable as well. Oh my goodness, this man and his timing. But Pro Scouts will have to wait just a little bit more. The archers are now out, and they will be able to shut down all these spearmen. But the stable position, or the whole placement of the stable, is just already giving you an answer to the response that MSN made. You can make horsemen. You can deal with those archers this way. So it feels like a pretty good position for Sassy to be in already.
Yeah, SAS definitely has some good timing here now with this barracks as well. He is going to be going for his own professional scout play, and so far has been able to keep MSN off of the gold. So MSN's play onto the Pro Scout is severely, severely delayed now. But he is investing into military units instead, both MSN and SAS. So no immediate blob into additional scouts. Instead is opting for the horsemen first as a response to the archers.
And that horseman makes a lot of sense, because of course your Pro Scouts, they are going to need a little bit of time to to arrive. You know, it's only halfway at this point, and with that horseman, you can send it out, you can go chase down, you can go shut down the scout that MSN has just lost. And at this level of play, losing a scout is pretty massive. Because this now, MSN needs to have vision. He can't just, I was about to say, he can't just sit back and be like, oh, I don't have a scout. You need to make a stable and you need to make a scout. You cannot just sit back and assume what your opponent is going to be doing. Early farm transition as well. Making sure that that arcane bonus is going to be paying off and already inspiring villagers while extending the food source as much as possible. Especially with all that wood that he has in the bank, he's using it instantly.
Now, Msn is going to be starting to produce additional scouts soon. Should I have enough gold for the Pro Scout upgrade as well? SAS, now also with additional scouts, is starting to bring in the first couple of deer as well. Looks like he had just a little bit too much wood, did make use of that. Just dropping a couple of farms here as well means that you're always going to have the bare minimum of food income required to be able to produce villagers. So it's just a nice little way of spending the additional wood that you have, and when you don't immediately need it, the farm is eventually going to pay off for itself.
Now, what I'm really excited about is seeing that double archery range drop here from Sassy. So we're going to be seeing those HRE speed archers, as I like to call them, because those speed archers are wonderful. So with the HRE infantry, as you guys might know, they get a little bit of extra movement speed. So those archers just run a little bit faster, and it's so much better to kite with them. But we still see investment here from Sassy into scouts, as he wants to get as much deer from this as possible. Now, the archery range is not producing a single, a single thing yet, and 6 in the queue already. Now, getting a tower onto that gold as well, it is probably the safest choice. He doesn't have any eco upgrades up until this point, so he needs to get going on that if he wants to get a little bit of a wheelbarrow to run away from these Chinese death balls that are about to arrive. The thing is, this death ball, I call it a death ball. It's a very tiny one. It definitely will be able to hit quite hard, but you need to be careful. Getting that second tower there as well, he does not want to take any risks.
Now, behind this, the couple of horsemen that we do have is going to be enough to keep MSN on his side, but the scout does make its way through, so MSN is going to be able to just get a nice little glimpse into the base of what SAS has and what SAS is planning at the moment. And what is MSN's plan? He's just getting a lot of wood, a lot of food. He's finally starting to gather up the deer as well.
We see both of them prioritizing military upgrades gradually. Like the blacksmith coming out from Sassy as well. MSN not getting a single eco upgrade. He's like, I need +1 range defense, boys. I'm going to be diving.
Ooh,
and Sassy...
outpost. He's ready for this.
He knew it was coming. The thing is, with HRE, you also have your emergency repair, of course, but those archers, they are going to get quite annoying as they try to pick off a villager every now and again. But Sassy reinvesting into these horses, as his wood was just not that much, but also getting a man-at-arm in the mix. That feels pretty good.
It does, most definitely does. Just a single one of these units, once the archers start focusing onto it, it has so much HP, or rather so much valuable armor on it as well, meaning that it's able to just survive so many additional archer shots. And eventually, if you have solid enough food income, you're just able to blow up a massive front line of these men-at-arms, even in Feudal Age. It's also a unit that very much retains its value once you age up, and also opens up the potential of a Burgrave opening, or rather Burgrave Castle Age transition, as the Burgrave did get a nice little additional buff on it, where melee units received an additional 50% damage on their charge, so they suddenly start becoming incredibly strong when it comes to just dealing even with knights at that point, because their charge just suddenly carries so much additional weight.
Now, Sassy may have learned from the last game, where the horses were the bane of his existence. He's trying to do the same here, but again, a very, very dangerous move. We've seen him do this before, and overextending with that army can be so dangerous. I was actually talking to Beastie about this recently, about where you should be attacking. And he says, don't go behind your opponent's base, because the moment you do, those units are dead. If you're not willing to lose them, you need to be ready to do so. Yeah. So now with these horses here, it's great that they get all the way here, but they're so susceptible to any type of response from the horses of MSN. But these are the types of units that you are willing to lose because you want to delay your opponent as much as you can, especially with him just hitting castle now. So SAS are going to be following that up, most likely with the castle very, very soon. But the horses are now keeping him busy. Luckily on Gorge, behind your base is only when there's a wall.
SAS unfortunately did a little bit of mismacro here. Only had 6, now 7, now 9 villagers on gold, meaning that he isn't gonna get the gold in time. Already has more than enough food to age up, just the gold lacking behind this now. And yeah, means that this little bit of a delay can cost him here in the transition as MSN's army is making its way forward towards his base.
Now, these horses just running in, trying to do a little bit of damage, paying the price. But this is massive because it's not just losing a horse. This is losing the pressure you needed to ensure that your opponent doesn't head over to your side. Now the Lancer numbers are going to be increasing, and this is going to start getting scarier and scarier because Sassy is not set up in a way that he is going to respond to Lance as well. Now getting the Cathedral, and pretty standard play here is that Cathedral is going to be very necessary with every little bit of relic that he can get because MSN, that's exactly what he's going for. He's getting the relics and he's getting it fast. Another horseman goes down. Spearman fire from MSN, absolutely phenomenal this game. These archers are really good at chasing and being able to do that damage behind. Another stable, and another one. All of them coming down at the same time as Sassy realizes he is going to be doing exactly the same thing, and that is going to be going for knights. So a knight composition against 10 spearmen is going to be a little bit different than his single 4. Now, we have to take a look at the relic positions as well, as there's only one relic on the side of Sassy that he's potentially going to be able to snatch. So, safely snatch,
It already has 2 of them being brought back right now, 3 monks, so might even be getting more than that. Meaning that the Archon, it's going to be difficult for the, not Archon, for the Regnants to really pay off here for him.
So, with MSN now getting that 6th knight, this is going to be quite hard to handle because we do see +2 ranged attack coming into with a lot more archers on the horizon. The thing is, with your archer composition, you don't usually have a good answer against all those men-at-arms. Luckily, they are still in very, very low numbers, and those knights that are going to be joining the lancers, deleting these horses though.
Horsemen are getting taken down now. Archer's already upgraded though for MSN. SAS just about to be able to get his upgrade. Is coming in just a millisecond. There we go. Upgrade did come in just before the fight gets taken between them. And MSN losing a lot of his own archers, and SAS's archers do have more movement speed, so should be able to catch up to this, but the knight reinforcements are there for MSN. He's trying to bait him a little bit further forward. Doesn't want to spring the trap quite yet. Wants to cover for his monk that's bringing back the relic. It's the second relic on the second trip. So 4 relics being brought back for MSN. 4-1 relic game. SAS, that has to hurt a lot. Being down now by 4 relics.
And that knight is taking so much damage too quickly just because of the mix of spearmen in that army and a little bit of a crossbow switch over that MSN has had. Now, with the mobility that MSN is going to have on his side, this is going to get harder and harder for Sassy. But we do see the idle time on those vills, and this is telling us that MSN, he might also be having troubles of his own, because that's not an easy food transition waiting for him. He needs to get to Song Dynasty as well, and this is going to mean a significant investment here instead of getting it into military. Because on Sassy's side, he's already got a few farms set up, and he's probably pretty happy with that economy going there.
Yeah, should most definitely be a little low coming in.
He looks very confident. This archer mass that he has here at the front, it's not he shouldn't be this confident up against all those lancers. Because these archers are great at kiting other archers, but they're not that great at kiting lancers. And it feels like he feels pretty confident about this. The numbers from MSN is just too great for him to be able to step this far forward with that mass of archers he's got.
Yeah, it's a pretty big mass of archers, and the one thing that's always very weird about archers is that in Castle Age, they actually trade a lot better against armored units than they did in Feudal Age, so suddenly they're able to pump out a lot more damage. That's because the veterans, the upgrade on the archers gives +2 instead of just +1 damage. SAS, he didn't manage to secure the relics, but he is able to get additional gold in through the sacred site, so that's definitely something that he has to put a lot of attention into, just to be able to keep up with the gold income, with the passive gold income in this game. 16 to 11 knights, and it looks like MSN wants to take this fight. SAS, in theory, still has a good amount of archers here, and he's doing a great job of just kiting back, and because his archers are faster, he is able to kind of outrun the backline here of MSN. MSN gets a beautiful point-blank charge in, though. And the archer count from SAS is teetering behind a little bit now, as the knights every now and then are able to gap close. Already lost like 10 archers here.
He's doing such a good job at just target firing those spears, but I don't know if this is going to be enough. He needs to find a way to deal with those lances, and he's finally going into crossbows himself, but he's got a few villagers here at the front, which should be in a lot of danger here with the lancers now getting on top, one going down. More could be falling, but the archers here from MSN doing work now that they finally caught up. The lancer numbers still in favor of MSN, and this army is getting scarier and scarier with reinforcements being just archers and lancers, and Sassy cannot keep up.
Now behind us, he's trying to reinvest into crossbows, but the entire army is gone. MSN, it looks to be done. It looks to be over with at this point. 16 knights still out and about, and he's able to pick off that last remaining knight, and now the base is open from SAS. No way out now in this one. The knights, they're streaming in. Villagers idled out. No more production coming in. SAS, there's no more hope left in this one. The Arkham is now getting dove upon as well. Barbican of the Sun coming in somewhere, just, you know, to scale the economy further. Not that there's much need anymore. SAS is down to 37 economy units. The last couple of moments here, and GG comes in. MSN is able to go on into the next round here. He's going to be up against Numedan, who's currently waiting for him. SAS. That is going to be his exit, though, from the tournament. Not going to be able to qualify this time around. Good showing, though. And MSN, he's been steadily improving time and time again. Even made it to the King of the Rockies LAN in Denver in the USA. And yeah, now also looking strong when it comes to potentially qualifying for the EGC Masters Final.
He has a big opponent ahead of him, though. Numedan is a scary, scary man waiting ahead of him, because now we also have the Battle of Scandinavia here for the qualification spot, so pretty poetic here between the two. But MSN really showed us he can force mistakes out of his opponent, and I feel like the games we watched today, this is not the MSN we watched 6 months ago. Really big growth. But yeah, he is young blood coming for all the seasoned veterans here. So guys, you better watch out.